What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of A Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Netflix is saving Hollywood. CEO considers going to the theater as an modded idea for most people. We're going to talk about two stories for Expedition 33. We're going to talk about it's the highest rated game of 2025, and we're also going to talk about how that Expedition 33 utterly destroys Square Enix gaslighting over Final Fantasy turn-based combat. We're also going to watch Laura Fryer's video called Learning from Layoffs. So these are the things that we're watching today. If you guys like what we do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We just cover news stories, watch videos, have conversations, give you a little bit of entertainment for a couple hours of your day. If you like it, like I said, do all the things down below. Appreciate it. What's going on, chat? Let me see who's all here. What's going on, El Nini, Travis, Sarge, Waterbear, Wonder Rose, Roic, good morning, El Nini. Oh, I already said El Nini. I already said it. Good morning twice. Kylo, what's going on? Jason, Robert Jones, feels good, man. Brain Eclipse, good morning. All right, I think that's everybody. Good morning, good morning. Make sure you guys hit that like button. There's over 20 of you here, and yet we have 6 likes. So make sure you hit that like button. Aku says, morning, all let's go. Busy day. Thank you very much for the 27 months. Appreciate you. Z says, what's up, ladies? You know, Z, we have like 0.0001% of women here. So, and I understand you're calling everybody a lady, so it's fine. Roic says, Expedition 33 is amazing. Once I picked it up, it was hard to stop. I started this weekend. I have about 4 hours into it. I have to say it's very, what's the word? It's very refreshing for that type of genre of game to... Remember what I always say, right? Remember what I always say. I'm like, if you're going to make a game, like if I want to make a first-person shooter game, I don't want to make a first-person shooter game like every other first-person shooter there. If I'm going to make an Extraction, I don't want to make it like every other Extraction out there. If I make a Final Fantasy type game, I don't want to make Final Fantasy. I want to be inspired by these games and these genres and then get to that bar and then exceed that bar. And that's what Expedition 33 has done. And we're going to talk about that because this is a small team, right? This is a small team. This is an independent developer, okay? There's 30, I think there's like 30 or 30, I think it's 30 or 33 developers that made the game, and it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The 4 hours that I've played so far is the storytelling, the graphics, the gameplay, just everything about it. Now, I've only have 4 hours into it, okay? And I don't really give two craps about if a game is going to make or win Game of the Year or not. But this is definitely a nomination for Game of the Year, right? Split Fiction's definitely in the running for Game of the Year. Expedition 33 is definitely in the running for Game of the Year, okay? I can't say about other games because I haven't played those games. These two games are definitely in the running for Game of the Year. Waterbear says, so it's turn-based, but not boring. Nice. You have to pay attention. It's not just hit a button and then they go, bah. Like, there's dodging, there's parrying, there's jumping and then parrying type of thing, all depending on who you have in your team. If you're not paying attention, you're dead, right? You're dead. So you have to pay attention. It's making your brain think, going, well, if I hit here, I get a point. And if I get this point, then I build it up. Then I can do my other, right? There's lots of stuff going on during the combat. It's not just like, and just like hit the button, you know? It feels good. They've taken the next step in what this should be, this genre should be. And if you look at it, regardless if you like it or not, like games like XCOM, right? That type of genre has also evolved, okay? Marvel's Midnight Suns added a card system in there. They've gotten rid of like the grid-based system where you only can move to a certain spot. So your guys can move freely across the thing. Even the new game that we saw for the Star Wars game, company Zero Company, whatever it's called, even that's got rid of it, right? So that has evolved over time. So it's nice to see that these refreshing type of stuff like this, right? I mean, if you look at dungeon crawlers and stuff, they've evolved over time. They're not just the exact same thing, but there are games that come out that make the exact same thing, and this is why they don't do good. Make a game, sell a game. Make a game, sell a game. They've taken a risk with this game, and it's successful. Waterbear says, indies are winning, man. Kylo says the soundtrack, man, is good. The soundtrack is good, but I'll tell you what, Kylo, there's this one song, at least in the first 4 hours, is just constantly playing. And my one scrutiny for this or criticism of the game, and obviously you can go in the settings and do it, but the mixing of the dialogue and the music in the game, the music is extremely loud. Extremely loud. Jack says, I can't say enough on how good Expedition 33 is a story combat. You can also attack and parry and counterattack. Some you can't parry. Right. Like you can't parry, so you have to jump in the air, and then I forget her name. The young girl. Starts with an M. I can't think of her name. But when she jumps up in the air, she can counter real fast right afterwards. Melia? I forget her name. Roic says, the opening section is absolute gut-wrenching. Real sets the stage. Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, now, I don't know anything about the story. I didn't watch any interviews or anything like that, so I was like, what the? I was so confused. And that opening scene, if you know, you know, I was just like, oh, my God. It's good. It's really good. Kyle says, who would have thought the most satisfying parry of the year would be from a turn-based game? Right? Yeah, it is a great story so far. People were complaining about the lip syncing. Did they do a patch or something? Because I didn't play the first couple days, right? So I started yesterday. I don't know if there was a patch, but when I downloaded it and started playing, I didn't notice any lip syncing issues. So I don't know if there was a patch or anything. Waterbear says, put on new games in the May. A video by Force. Yeah, I have it. Just to show you. I have it. It's not in the title, Waterbear. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. But I have it right here. So I didn't know if we were going to watch it or not, but, you know. What's going on, Alturn? Is that how you spell it, Jax? Is it M-E-L-L or is it M-A-L-L-E? Is it M-A-E-L-L? M-A-E-L-L-E. There you go. Yeah, that when you pull off a triple parry counter, it's like the chef's kiss. I haven't done that yet. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I was thinking about playing that tonight. 8 p.m. Tomorrow night, we're playing, or tomorrow afternoon after the show. So we're doing the morning show from 10 to 12, right? 10 to 12, 12:30 or so, right? Then at 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock tomorrow on Tuesday, we're playing some RuneScape Dragon Wilds with Hilly. And then tomorrow evening, we're playing Towerborn. I already have those up on the other channel scheduled. So on Tuesday afternoons, there's going to be an extra stream going on gameplay-wise for about 2 hours. From 1 to 3, we're going to be playing Dragon Wild Days. All right, so let's get to the first story. All right, there's a couple stories of Expedition 33. Okay, so Claire Obscure, Expedition 33 is now 2025's highest-rated game. If you guys like what I do here, we just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So Clair Obscur Expedition, blend of turn-based combat, fantasy, and unbelievable storytelling, has earned its #1 spot on OpenCritics and Metacritic's Best Games list, making it the highest-rated game of 2025. Sandfall's interactive Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has slowly picked up steam throughout 2025 as it's finally launched on April 24th. And needless to say, it's been an insane hit. It's quite a long beat of offering value for money. It's the voice actors who also have been universally praised for the excellent job they've done. The main character, Gustav, that you use looks like Robert Pattinson, but it's Charlie Cox's voice, right? And I'm okay with it, right? I don't think it looks like Charlie Cox at all, and I'm okay at not looking like Charlie Cox, right? Because I think in video games, you don't have to look like the person like Troy Baker just did Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford's character, right? I don't think they have to look like it, but if you do make the character look like the actor, at least make him look like the actor. But this guy looks exactly, right, like Robert Pattinson. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. The RPG also received critically acclaim and has also established itself as one of the year's most must-play games. Obscura Expedition 33, like, look at this guy. Tell me that doesn't look like Robert Pattinson, right? Tell me that doesn't look like Robert Pattinson. I mean, it doesn't matter what it looked like. It's just, I was like, is that Robert Pattinson? I was like, that's not his voice. And then it's Charlie Cox's voice. Charlie Cox, if you guys don't know, is a guy who plays Daredevil in Marvel. A quick glance at Metacritic, the best game this year shows a new number, Clair Obscur's Expedition 33. Now, yes, it officially shares the score with indie sensation Blueprints. Imagine this for a second. Imagine this just for a second, okay? Not only do we have Split Fiction, which is a smaller company making a game, and Split Fiction is high on the charts, okay? Very well-received game. And it's a game. Make a game, sell a game. Then we have Blueprints that just came out shortly after Split Fiction, okay? And that, okay, is a very good game. Small independent studio. That's also a video game. And then we have Expedition 33, okay? And this is an independent company, small team, and this is also a video game. Imagine these three games this early on in 2025, not these AAA studios, smaller teams, okay, making these games, and they're making a game and they're selling a game, and they're all successful. They're all successful. Why are they successful? Because they don't cost $400 million a piece. That's why they're successful. Because they make a game, it's a good game, and good games sell. Okay? This is not even including the Oblivion remaster or anything that's going on. Just talk about these 3 games that have come out, right? So Blueprint's score comes from 49 critic reviews. Clair Expedition is based on 57 critic reviews, and presumably the RPG gets a nod over Blueprints, which is definitely needed to play. Furthermore, OpenCritic and Clair Obscur's Expedition 33 as its undisputed #1 best game of 2023 to date. It sits at #1 on 91 out of 100. Split Fiction and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 both sit at a respectable 90 out of 100. I totally forgot about Kingdom Come Deliverance, and that's yet another smaller team, right? They're not a AAA studio. Bye-bye, AAA. Bye-bye, okay? The golden age, or the renaissance, I should say, okay, is happening right now, right? Smaller teams, smaller games, not big blockbuster games are coming out, and they're just smashing it, dude. They're smashing it. There's a simple consensus that we head into May of 2025 and that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is currently the red-hot favor for Game of the Year crown. If you had a chance to play, have you had a chance to play it? Let us know in the comment section down below. Let us know in the live chat what you guys think. Do you think it should be the highest-rated game? Let me know. But let's go to this one, okay? Let's go to this one right here. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 utterly destroys Square Enix's gaslighting over Final Fantasy turn-based combat, right? Square Enix tells you that, nobody really wants to make these games anymore. No one's interested in these games anymore. No one's interested in your games anymore, right? Because when you get comfortable, when you become, with no competition, you become lazy and you don't do anything. You just sit there and pretend, oh, well, our fans are just going to give us the money. They're just going to give us the money, okay? So, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 utterly destroys Square Enix's gaslighting over Final Fantasy turn-based combat. A new JRPG from France has destroyed Square Enix's gaslighting over turn-based combat. He reminds us how corporations kill creativity. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay. It says, this is a comment from former... Oh, okay, I'm sorry. The quote is, "You think you want it, but you don't." Yeah. Imagine being so self-indulgent in your thought process that you think, because if you think you want it, but you don't, but yet when a game comes along that people want to play, they buy it. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy. This is a comment from former Blizzard president J. Allen Brack responding to players asking for World of Warcraft Classic mode. It has since become quite notorious amongst World of Warcraft fans, not only for its pretty arrogant and also calls of dismissal of the entire section fan base, but also because Blizzard eventually capitalized and gave players what they had been asking for. Like, you know what's funny? We got this guy. You guys can't hear it. I'm sorry. You guys couldn't hear it. That joke failed miserably, but we'll play it again.
Tim Kaine walks in with a question so bold. Do gamers know what they want? He's told. The crowd says yes, but then starts to fight. Tim shakes his head. Yeah, that sounds about right. Tell me what's good, not what's gone wrong. If you just complain, the list gets too long. You say, this sucks, but what do you mean? Fix the bugs or scrap the whole scene. Tell me what's good.
We, the gamers, know what we want. We're like, hey, can we have this game? Man, I would love a Transformers game. Man, I would love a action-packed first-person shooter G.I. Joe game, right? I would love this game. I would love a remake of this game. And they're like, now you think you want it, but no, you don't. No, you don't. Now, under new leadership, World of Warcraft has changed the philosophy to giving fans exactly what they want. Imagine Disney. Imagine Warner Brothers. Imagine all of these companies are like, I don't know, what are we going to make? I don't know what to do. Our audience is sexist, racist, and misogynistic. They don't know what they want. Tell us what you want. Here's what we want. Nah, they don't want that. You think you want that. But the game has never been in a better spot, with a variety of modes and different types of players, killing off the previous one-shoe-fits-all. Desperation, telemetry, first design philosophy, first getting players housing. Yeah, the player housing is just ridiculous, right? People were asking that for decades. Okay? All right. So Claire Obscure Expedition 33 hits 1 million copies sold in just 3 days. Okay. After not meeting expectations, PlayStation 5 Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has enjoyed a spectacular Windows PC launch. And perhaps ironic the main reason we're also getting player housing in World of Warcraft is due to competition from competing MMO Final Fantasy XIV. Okay. World of Warcraft has forced to throw their playbook out the window to meet fans where they also rather than what they had the data was telling them. Okay. Activision telemetry must have told them that nobody wanted player housing. What? Okay. Everyone's like, hey, how come we don't have housing in this? How come we don't have housing in this? Activision telemetry also said that nobody wanted that player housing. Popularity of the feature of Final Fantasy XIV certainly suggested otherwise. Final Fantasy XIV innovated the World of Warcraft had failed and won itself a large, thriving fan base of its own and the back of innovation. Well, Final Fantasy XIV also told a good story, and it's really good MMO, right? Make a game, sell a game. And when Final Fantasy XIV first came out, it was a bomb. It was a bomb. And they had to retool it to make it great again. Okay? So for whatever reason, Square Enix begins to ignore its own success when it comes to mainline Final Fantasy games, which in recent years has been on a steady decline in popularity and relevance. Okay? Square Enix most recent Final Fantasy projects, namely 15, 16, 7 Remake, and 7 Rebirth, have found decent success, but It would argue that none of them received a fanfare some of the predecessors enjoyed. Final Fantasy VII Remake has proven that it's also still magic to be found in the franchise, even if they found Final Fantasy VII Rebirth with dull, Ubisoft-inspired open-world adultery. Okay? It says, where they also been less success than truly in the new Final Fantasy games, 15 and 16 are both neither what I would describe as classic entries in the series and represented something of a low point. Square Enix fully abandoned what made the series great, opting away from what fans want in favor of chasing other popular games and desperate, misguided attempt to get more money. That is it, right? That's the key ingredient there. Developers make games. They sell games and they love it. Let's just have a little what if moment here. Okay? What if moment. Claire Obscure, small independent company, okay? Let's say they get, they love their game. They've made a beautiful game here with Expedition 33. But let's say down the road, all of a sudden, because of the success of this, EA, Square Enix, Microsoft, Sony, they pick them up. They put them underneath their wing, right? As a developer now, you're like, oh, we can make every game we want now because now we have an endless pocketbook of stuff. But you also have a little thing hanging over you going, we don't like that. We think you should do this. We think you should do that. And then they completely destroy what the company did, right? This is why we have respect for Larian Studios. This is why we have respect for other studios of the same. Look at CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt Red went from one way to another, okay? And it changes along the way because they make the money and they want to make more money. They can make 10 cents per dollar, but they want to make 90 cents per dollar. You see what I'm saying? They want to make as much money as possible and squeeze it out and think that you're just going to come out and buy everything because, well, it's got the Final Fantasy name on it. It's got the Disney name on it. It's got the Madden football name on it, okay? And that is the fundamental problem that I've always preached about on this channel from when I first started a decade ago to today, okay? Is that they have to earn your money. Vote for your wallets for anything, okay? You don't have to listen to all these, you don't have to listen to people like myself, but just look at the broad audience of it, right? If more people are saying that the game is great, the game is probably great. If more people are saying the game is shitty, then it's probably shitty, okay? And just because they have a brand name on it doesn't mean you have to go put it out there because it's going to be the latest, greatest thing. Let them sweat. Let them earn your money. Do not support companies that call you assholes or racists or sexists or anything like this, okay? You don't owe them shit. They decided to get into the industry to entertain you, to give you a product, okay? Just because I go live every day doesn't mean you need to watch me. I have to earn you to watch me, okay? There's no difference in any other business. Just because the door's open doesn't mean it needs to sell, it has to sell because the door's open, okay? You have to put effort in, and when you put the effort in, you get respect. And if you respect people's time, then they'll give you their money, okay? So it says a little game from France called Claire Obscure Expedition 33 has thrown a spotlight on Square Enix design decisions around Final Fantasy, which is famously a variety of turn-based, command-based, and active turn-based over years. With tactical gameplay of its core, Expedition 33 borrows from a classic JRPG like Final Fantasy VIII and even Super Mario's RPG on top of some AAA production values. Photorealism wrapped in a dark fairy tale plot. Okay, they've taken everything, right? They've hit the bar and then exceeded that bar. Okay, Square Enix has also previously claimed that people don't want turn-based games anymore. No, they don't want turn-based games anymore because it's the same old recipe. Just sit back and collect a check. Oh, well, they liked this one 15 years ago, so they're going to like this one. Right? And instead of making a more efficient game and a better game, they just keep raising the prices because less people are buying the games and more they need to make more money. Okay? So previously, they claimed that people don't want the turn-based games anymore. Clearly, Expedition 33 is selling millions of copies already, not including Xbox Game Pass. That simply isn't true. This isn't an established franchise like Dragon Quest, Persona either. Right? This is a brand new IP. Right? Brand new IP. Is Square Enix simply out of touch now? Which is nowhere and drives the possibility of home more strongly for me than Square Enix producer. His own words. Okay, Square Enix, it's time to stop the gaslighting over turn-based tactical combat. So Yoshida is credited with the revival of the MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, which found its success by chasing World of Warcraft's model more closely. Okay, the classic cozy Final Fantasy veneer, while would also say drawing upon the inspiration of World of Warcraft, did work incredibly well for Final Fantasy XIV. This new approach clearly harmed the production of Final Fantasy XV, 17 Rebirth, and 16. Now, Final Fantasy XVI in particular dropped the presence of Square Enix, wanted to honor the legacy and passion decades of Final Fantasy precedent, ditching the command-based tactical gameplay in favor of derivative and half-baked Devil May Cry hack and slashery. But why? Yoshida has given his reasons in previous interviews. He says, quote, one of the things we found recently is that the graphics get better and better as the characters become more realistic and more photoreal, is that a combination of realism with a very unreal sense of turn-based commands doesn't really fit together. Well, let me tell you something. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Just go put it in Expedition 33 and play it for the first, I don't know, hour and a half. You'll be like, holy shit, I was wrong. Okay? Yoshida was wrong. Meaning if he goes and plays this game, he's going to now go back and go, we have competition, boys. We have competition, boys, and we need to go back to the drawing board to make the game more like this. Now, if Final Fantasy comes back out, they have to hit the new bar set by Expedition 33, by a small team of developers who've now raised the bar, and now Final Fantasy and any other base game that comes out like this has to hit what Expedition 33 is. This is the new standard. These are the same people, these journalists that come out and tell you that don't look at Larian Studios, don't expect stuff like this, okay, because this is not the standard. No, fuck you. That is the standard. These people raise the bar. And now if you want to be successful like this studio, then you need to raise the bar up to their level. That's just the way it works. Okay, so stylized turn-based games like Persona, Octopath Travelers, Dragon Quest are okay, but not photorealistic ones. Okay? He says, huh? What? In my view, this is a damning quote. This proves to me that Yoshida and the team leading Final Fantasy have utterly fallen out of touch, not only with Final Fantasy fans, but the wider audience in general. I agree. I agree 100%. Okay? He says, quote, some people are fine with it. They're fine with having the realistic characters and the unreal type of systems, but then on the other hand, there are people that just can't get over it. I mean, if you have a character holding a gun, why can't they just press the button to have the gun fire? Why do they need to command it there? I mean, you could say, but why do you have to code at all? Why do you have to code at all? Why don't we just let AI code? Okay, right? A little game of France, Clear Obscure Expedition 33 solved this made up problem. Right? I love it. Made up problem, because that's exactly what it is. By letting you free aim with the character's gun, and almost as Square Enix is trying to explain away the lack of creativity. Right? In this game, you can literally just hold the left trigger and free aim to whatever you want. Okay? Now, say what you want about it, right? Because they could just make you shoot the gun at the head point. You know, you like tap up on the analog, or maybe you hit up on the D-pad, and it would just lock onto like the head or the arm or something like that, right? But what Expedition 33 has done, they've given the player choice. They made you feel like you have the choice, and you do. You do have a choice. But obviously, the only choice is to hit the crit spot, and the crit spot would be where's that, chat? Right? It's the colored item on the character, if not the head. And most of the time, it's the head. Okay? But to say like, well, why command that in there? They just let you do it, right? Right? You give the option and feel like you're doing something, because you are. You're moving the gun around. You're taking your time. You're like, all right, I got the head. The character's moving a little bit, right? Going like this. And you're like, am I going to hit the head? And you can miss, right? You can miss. But that little thing inside the game makes that game that much better, right? It's the little things that make it feel better, okay? So the little game, France, they are a problem. I already read that part, okay? It says, seriously, though, the whole argument falls apart entirely when they consider the video games aren't meant to be realistic from the ground up. Final Fantasy XVI has some of the most vicious, boring, patronizing combat. It's also expanding into the action game, and the game effectively plays itself, okay? With boss battles playing out the cutscenes rather than active combat. And Yoshida has the audacity to claim that players won't want to input commands. which is just so tone deaf, right? So tone deaf. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's someone's whispering in his ear that nobody wants it and the numbers don't show it. So he's like, maybe, and this is the correlation. They think that's why it is instead of the boring gameplay with the same shit over and over and over. I don't know. Okay. It's not the first or the last time we've seen the industry try to downplay turn-based games. It's not the first or the last time games like Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, or Baldur's Gate 3 will show you up and prove everyone wrong. Imagine this for a second. If Expedition 33 wins Game of the Year, okay, 2 out of the last 3 years, a turn-based game would win Game of the Year. But then people will tell you that no one's interested in turn-based games. Now, obviously, Game of the Year is not based on sales, by the way. It's based on the quality of the game being built. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has a core team of just 33 people, built in part of Ubisoft's veteran, who also really finally free up the telemetry-based corpo-style game development, which has also led the industry down this cul-de-sac, anti-creativity, and potentially the highest user rate game on Metacritic in history. Not just for 2025, in history. Okay, as fans pour in, not only to praise the game, but also send Square Enix a strong message: stop gaslighting us. Okay, like it's just silly to me that they're like, oh, gamers don't want this stuff. Gamers don't want these turn-based games. Turn-based is dead. No, turn-based is dead because the people that are making turn-based games are not creative. They're bored. They're just sitting there doing the thing, right? Just picture yourself, right? When you love a job, right, just every day, when you guys love a job, if you love what you do, you get up and you don't ever go, ugh, right? But when you start hating your job, when you start just living in the mundane cycle, it becomes a chore. And when it becomes a chore, it just becomes a mundane event, like going to the shitter every day or brushing your teeth or I gotta eat, right? That's just what it is. But when someone loves food or loves doing an activity, they're like, man, I can't wait. What are we going to eat today, right? And they love cooking and they love doing stuff like that. There's passion there. When you lose that passion, it completely degrades the product, okay? And if there's no one competing with your product, then your product becomes stale, okay? Right? Just like anything else. If your product becomes stale and no one thinks your product's hot, doesn't matter if you own a donut shop or you're making a video game, okay? People are not going to go through the door. People are not going to buy your game. This is why Madden needs competition. This is why other games need competition. This is why Overwatch has woke up from its coma, because Marvel Rivals is there doing competition, okay? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Let me know in the live chat what you guys think, right? What do you make of this, right? What do you make of these comments of nobody wants a turn-based game? Nobody wants a first-person shooter game. Nobody wants right? When you look at what the people are saying in the video game industry, not the people that are making the games, the people that want to play your games, and they tell you, we're not interested in this game. And they're like, yes, you are. And then when it comes out, no one buys it, and they're like, look at these sexist people. They don't want to buy it because of said whatever, which is just ridiculous. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me scroll up here and see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. I'm scrolling up on my list, but it's not going to scroll up on the screen. That's live chat. El Nini says, if any company calls me a Latinx, you've lost me. Are they still doing that, El Nini? Are people still using that term, Latinx? That was like, what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago they were doing that? Waterbears is exactly 30. The standard should be make a game, sell a game. That's right. Whatever that is, Water. If I decide that my game is a turn-based game like that, but I don't hit the bar of the latest, greatest turn-based game, and it comes out and it doesn't sell well, that's on me. I decided to, if it was because of our budget and we didn't have the time to put into it, you lay it down, right? And people decide if they like it or not. If if I decide I didn't want to put this combat system in there, or I didn't want to do this in the system, or I didn't want to do that in the system, and it doesn't sell well, these are the reasons, okay? This is why you have to have competition. This is why you have to exceed and push yourself to become the best of the best. Let's see here. Yeah, Klep says, yeah, you can miss his shots. I've had it happen. Oh yeah, I've had it happen. Robert Jones says, I do understand that some turn-based players hate quick time events, which is why they like turn-based. Ron Sledger says, so Mario Kart World costs more than Expedition 33. Yes. Sarge says, free aim? What is this, voodoo magic that you speak of? You mean progressive mechanics inside of a turn-based RPG? Yeah, no, it's crazy, Sarge. It's crazy. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Roic says hitting those weak spots can make each fight easier. Can also completely change the fight as well. Dolphin said, what's going on, Dolphin? So are Final Fantasy fans jealous and boycotting Expedition 33? I don't think the fans are boycotting Expedition 33. I mean, I haven't heard that myself, Dolphin. It's the people that make the game are saying that nobody really wants to make these games anymore because no one wants to buy them because of the same boring stuff. What's that new game that looks like Command and Conquer, terminating something, right? The reason I bring this up real fast is because when people look at it, right, they look at it and go, well, that just looks like Command and Conquer, right? That's the mentality in your brain, like, oh, all these years, and this game looks like that game. It might not be, but that's the thing. Tempest Rising. Thank you, Sarge. Right? That's the thing, right? The game could be fundamentally completely different than Command and Conquer, right? They could have raised the bar, but when you first glance at it and go, oh, it looks like Command and Conquer. And then you look at it and go, well, nothing's changed over the years, so I don't know if I'm interested in that game. Ultra says, I haven't played it. I don't like turn-based. It's a good game. It's good. I haven't played a turn-based game in quite some time. I mean, obviously, I haven't played a game like this in quite some time, and I'm enjoying it. The story keeps you going. The world itself, it even changes. Like, there's a moment that it's very linear, but then it opens up to a board sort of like Borderlands Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, where it's like a board game type of thing, and you're from a really far back perspective, and you're running around the map, and then you hit the points, sort of like the old school, Zelda or Final Fantasy type of stuff, where it like zooms in when you come up against a bad guy. Just want to Hilly. Don't forget, guys. Me and Hilly are playing RuneScape Dragon Wilds tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, my time. And then it's a hard out for me at like 3. Might start a little bit early, but 1 to 3, and then it's a hard out for me at 3 because I got to go pick up my son at school. But we're going to be doing that on Tuesdays. As long as people are enjoying it, by the way. Right? I like the game. I think it'll be fun to play with Hilly. So, what is hitting my cable? I hear noise like a phone, and nothing's over there. I don't get it. Rogue says it's turn-based, but it's just done issue. You just done issue commands, and it sits there, and also have to hit combo buttons, a defense. You also have to dodge, parry. Yeah, you can't sit there and just let the game play itself. You have to be active playing the game. Crowded House says, do you think games like Expedition 33 releasing for $50 is a middle finger to Nintendo? I think it's a middle finger to the industry. Not just Nintendo. House. Yeah, because everyone says, well, games have to cost. They have to cost $80, right? And then you have these people that shill towards the companies. They have to cost $80. They got all these people. No, they have to have good managers, and they have to have good developers that don't bloat the fucking budget past $300 million, right? Because you're getting games like Expedition 33. You're getting 19-year-old remasters of Oblivion, okay? You're getting Blue Point. You're getting all these games that don't have to cost $70, $80, $90, $100, $120, right? So I think it's a big middle finger to the industry. You're gonna have a resurgence of all smaller companies. What happened in the 80s and the 90s is gonna happen again, right? This company is gonna rise up and they're gonna be known, right? They got their fans now. They see this game and they can't wait for their next game, whatever they make. Sarge says it's Command & Conquered without the live action cutscenes. It might be good, but since it's just a copy pasta, it's not pulling numbers. It's exactly right, because people are just associating it as it's just the same. Aku says 30. I'm just turn-based weary because of the samey mechanics. Nothing is bringing me back. These mechanics in this game are completely different than the ones in the back. But 100%, I understand what you're saying, and this is exactly what I just said about Tempest Rising, because people look at it and go, it is what it is, so you just kind of shut it off, because you're like, the last time I got this type of game, it was the samey. The last time I got the game before that, it was the samey. Alter says Nintendo doesn't care about the middle finger because people still bought the Switch 2. Oh, yeah. 100%. Haku says 30. Are you expecting The Last of Us remastered remake for the PlayStation 6? Oh, for sure. For sure. You don't think that's not going to happen? That's for sure happening. Kylo says, turn-based, I don't like turn-based at all, and I love this game. It's very good. What's going on, Argus? The problem is that these large companies have way too many employees, and the boat's budget is astronomical number, and that a bloated budget is why they feel like they can't make those kind of games. Right? People are looking at Expedition 33, where they sell 1 million copies, right? And they're like, that's because of PlayStation and PC, not because of Xbox. It's like, you do understand that on Game Pass that Microsoft paid them up front, right? So they could have covered like 250,000 copies sold, which is not part of that number of 1 million people playing or 1 million copies sold, right? Right? That number that they give them pays for a certain amount of copies to give the developers, the 33 developers. Mind you, No Man's Sky has, 20 employees? And look how big that game is, right? You don't need Assassin's Creed numbers. You don't need 300 members to make a video game. You just need really 20, 30 really passionate people and are really good at what they do and really good management. Really good management. Do you think if Expedition 33 had shitty upper management, they would get this game done? No, they wouldn't. But I bet you they had really good management, and they had really good person that managed their time, which is missing in bigger companies, because even the hiring process of people the people that are hired and up in that positions, I'm not saying everybody, but I would assume a lot of those people think because, I work for Activision, I work for whatever, they think, I'll just do what I want. You have to be at the top of your game at all times. Doesn't matter what you're in. Doesn't matter if you're playing sports, running the register, being a gas station attendant. Doesn't matter. People will give you respect if you earn their respect. If you're a manager that has no respect, they don't care. And if they don't care, then the quality of the thing goes down. It's just what it is. But most people just want to become manager because they get a bigger paycheck and they think it's less work. But really, when you get more money, it should be more work. Because now you're not just in charge of yourself, you're in charge of many other people. That's why you're getting paid more. Not to be lazy. It's because you were working your ass off and they liked your work ethic. And this is why they promoted you. Rorik says, look at the Schedule 1. The game exploded. It's all done by basically one guy. That's another one. Right? Schedule 1 is one dude. One dude. Aku says, "Who said Mo 3 times?" I think I said Game Pass. I think I'll take blame for that. I think I said Game Pass. Yeah, I did. I was talking about Expedition 33 and Microsoft and how it's on Game Pass. I said it 3 times, then Mo appeared. Just what happens. It's like rubbing the genie, right? It's like rubbing the genie in the bottle. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. What's going on, Mo? Altern says, I was about to say that Hello Games are small devs, and they're still alive. This guy could survive for at least 8 years, their next game. Yeah, the guy from Schedule 1, he could survive the next decade from the money he made from Schedule 1, right? Expedition 33, they could probably succeed because the money they got from Microsoft and now the copies they sold, okay, they could probably make their next 2 games from it. Minecraft was one person for the first 2 years, 3 years, leading up to 2008 or 9, and then it exploded, right? Then he hired staff in or whatever. Kyle says Schedule 1 is the modern day Notch. Right. One guy. Well, yeah, because it's exploding so big. Because there's other people that made a game like Tunic, but that's not an explosion, right? Schedule 1, there's 1 million people playing the goddamn thing. If they don't bloat the studio, well, that becomes with upper management, right? That's with management, Altern. You have to put people in the right position and then you have to know what you're able to do, right? You have to know what you're able to do without burning people out, right? So if I ran a business, okay, this is exactly what I would do. One, I wouldn't just hire anyone, right? If I wanted to make a video game, I wouldn't just hire anyone. I would make sure I hire people that are as passionate about the game that we're making as I am about creating it, okay? Then from that point on, I would work the people to their extent of what they're comfortable working. And if they have a double dip in certain things, I'm not talking about time-wise, right, as far as pay. What I'm talking about is, can you do this and this, and do they feel burnt out, right? Because if what I do by myself on YouTube, okay, this is like a 4-man person job for the stuff that I do. All right? But I do it myself, and I don't feel burnt out. For the time I put in, for what I have to do, I don't feel burnt out. Sometimes I do, okay? But if I'm at that point, then you get that extra person, right? And then it takes the thing that's overloaded, and then it kind of balances it back out, right? So if I'm a studio, and I have 4 people working with me, and the 4 people feel like we're extremely, about to get burnt out, then you hire a 5th person that lowers the temperature. Do you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. And we start doing stuff, and we don't do more than we can do. Not unless we add another person. You don't go hire 20 people, okay, to do a person of a 5-man job, and then everyone's just sitting around going, I'm just waiting for Ted to do what he's doing. And as soon as Ted's done, then it has to go to Susie. And when Susie's done, then it comes to me. Right? That's not the way you run a business, okay? You get the most efficient people out and pay them what they're worth, and they run because they're doing the best they can. And if they can't do it, then you get someone that can. That's how it works. You get a job, and you can lose a job just as fast. Just because you get hired doesn't mean you have that job for the rest of your life. Sorry. Is this an ad? Did you get an ad, Jones? Did you get an ad? More education does not equal a great manager. That's another thing. Oh, it was perfect, Roick. This weekend, I watched Captain America: The First Avenger with my son. Right, we're going slowly through the Infinity Saga, basically. Right, so we watched all the movies. We watched Thor. We watched Captain America, and my son was asking me. He's like, why are they mean to him? Whatever, blah blah blah. Because he looks different. He's weak and whatever. But then when he became Captain America, the soldiers still didn't respect him. Right? They didn't respect him. Not until he did something above and beyond what was expected of him. okay, and went to go save the 400 troops and came back, and everyone was like, hey, hail Captain America, right? And all of a sudden they got his respect. And because they got his respect, they would go into war with him, okay? So my son noticed, he said, why are they mean to him? And then that scene happened where he saved the people. And then when they went into the next, section, the next act where he's destroying each of the sections of where Hydra is, my son looks at me and goes, oh, they're following him. He's the leader. That's right. He's the leader because he's showing his leadership, and he's not leading from the back. He's leading from the front. Right? He's telling people what to do, but he's also doing what he's telling people what to do. That's a good manager. That is a good leader. And that's what most of these companies are missing. They're missing good leadership. They're missing good managers. Talking about Mo and Game Pass. Is this an ad? Yeah, he does this every day. I think Microsoft is paying him in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure. What's going on, Sin? Sin says Paris. Is Paris going to show up now? Is that what you're trying to bring him in? Akira says a lot of managers don't know how to lead. It's a problem. It is a problem. It's a massive problem. When I was a manager, no matter where I was, my first managing job I've ever did was I worked at an amusement park, and I was an assistant general manager, and I noticed that no one respected me when I was there because I was assistant general manager at the age of 17 going on to 18. Okay. I knew my shit, right? I knew my shit, but nobody respected me because I was just a kid. Just a kid. There's a person that's 30, 40 years old, my age now, working there, right? And I'm telling him what to do at 18 years old, right? So am I going to get respect from him? No, right? So what did I have to do to get his respect, right? If I had, let's say, a machine was broke or whatever, or something spilled on the ground, I wouldn't just tell, hey, can you go clean that up? I would come and grab a broom, grab some rags, and then I would say, hey, can you help me clean this up? Right? Can you help me clean this up? Right? And then we're doing it together. Right? We clean it together. Because that shows that I don't feel like I'm above you. Right? Right? Because if I help you, then this gets done quicker. And if this gets done quicker, then it makes the place better. And if it makes the place better, then we all look good. Right? So I don't think I'm better than anyone else. I earn the respect of the employees. So this built on, and when I said something to people, then people respected me, and they would do what I did. So at the age of 18, 19 years old, okay, I'm literally running the whole place, and then they promote me. They promote me again. Why is that? Right? Because I have the respect of the people around me, because I'm running the business, because I loved what I did at that moment, right? I wanted this place to feel like it was my own, and I don't want it to look like a shithole. Right? So if something's broke, something's spilled, something's bad, we fix it. I stop what I'm doing and I do it with the person I'm asking to help me to do it. Get it done faster. Right? That's what I've always done. When I worked for Apple, when I worked for Nordstrom's, when I worked for whatever it is. Waterbear says the best managers always experience to get down in the trenches with the employees. Exactly right. 100%. Waterbear says lead by example, and then slaps the ones that have the most respect. And also, when you're a manager, okay, with these companies or any company, you also don't look to be shattered with cheers and joy, right? You're doing your job because that's what they're paying you to do. So when you're doing your job, you don't expect to go, well, how come no one said thank you? How come no one said thank you? Now, don't get me wrong. Thank you, please, and thank yous go a long way, right? You thank your employees because they're lower on the totem pole, but as the upper management, I'm not looking to have other people above me go, oh, yeah, you did a really good job. Thanks for doing that thing. I'm not looking for that. That's why managers, it is not for everybody. Altered says, to be fair, I want more money. You're forced to become a manager nowadays. Few companies give a raise in the same position. Right. We saw that video with the guy at GameStop that was a key store manager, right? A key holder or whatever it was called. And he was getting paid, what did we say, $11.50? And he was bitching. Meanwhile, while he's bitching, in the background, there's boxes that need to be unpacked, right? There was like shelves not full, right? And he's bitching like, oh, they don't respect me. I remember watching that video and saying, well, why don't you unpack the boxes? Why don't you put those away? Right? You just don't get the money and then go, well, I don't have to do anything now because I'm the manager. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Robert Jones says, facts. Good leaders get their hands dirty. Oh, this is not down the rabbit hole, Jones. This is just normal. We're still talking about the business. We're talking about managers. We're going into this right here, right? There's a method to my madness. There's a method to my madness, okay? This is a video from Laura Fryer, okay? Laura Fryer. Learning from Layoffs, okay? If you guys like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do live streams, uploads, podcasts. We have gameplay on 30 and Still Gaming. We have music over on 30 and Still Jamming. The music that you listen to in the beginning of the show, you can go listen to over there. Or you can do the entertainment news stuff over on Nerding with 30. All right, so let's listen to Laura Fryer here talking about learning from layoffs. Allturn says, no way to use this to go to the next topic. Oh, no?
To save a studio. Game companies would find that they could no longer pay salary, and so they'd slim down their team and try to make it until they could find new financing. Now they seem to be a trend, they seem to be accelerating, and it's heartbreaking because there is a real human cost for doing layoffs. It's one of the most destructive things you can do to a team. And the worst part is that it doesn't have to be this way. If game leaders start managing their content production...
You were saying, Allturn? You were saying? Can I turn up the volume a little bit? That is maxed out there. Let me see if I can get a little bit more out of the... There you go.
Their teams, and their costs, the industry could return to a stable place where layoffs are the exception, not the rule. For context, it helps if you understand a little bit about the stages of development to understand what one of the key problems is here. Simply put, there are 3 phases of production. The first is pre-production. This is where you're figuring out what the game...
Pre-production is one of the most important things in filmmaking. I can't speak of video games. I can speak of filmmaking. Before you even pick up a camera, before you even get the locations, before you do anything, is pre-production, right? Someone writes a script. You have to go through that script, and you got to look at, right? Where's the scene take place? It takes place in a grocery store. Great. So what do you need in a grocery store? Well, you need a grocery store. We're going to need shelves filled with grocery store items, right? How are we going to get there? What's the lighting? What's the pre-production? That way, when the day shows up, everyone's there. Everyone's there. Everything's going on. Pre-production is the most important thing.
You have ideas and you're trying to translate them into plans that can be built. You need to be small and agile. You can't have a large team working on the game during pre-production.
No, because you would go way over budget. Pre-production in film, okay, you've got the director, you got the producer, okay? You've got the location scout, you got the script supervisor, okay? You have the art department because they got to know everything. They have the script in front of them. What are we doing? Right? They do the scene. They know what they have to put in the background. 5, 6 people is a good size.
You can't because it slows you down too much.
Now I'm in production. We'll need to double up the staff of this company within the next 12 months to be able to make a game of this size.
Once you move into production, you need a lot more people. This is where all the artists and designers join the team full-time and start cranking out content. It's easy for things to go off track because communication has to scale and it's a long phase of development. Eventually, you get through, almost all of the code is done, almost all of the content, and guess what? It's time to slim the team down again.
That's right. You're going to lose your job because not everyone on the production team, not everyone in the film industry, right? Now, from pre-production, there's people that go on to production. Then when you're in production, they hire the camera guy, they hire the camera assistant, they hire the PAs, they hire the actors, they do all the stuff. And I'm only talking about film, right? It's the exact same thing in the gaming industry, okay? They hired all the people that are making the game, filming the project. At the end of the filming, I'm unemployed. I don't stay on the staff and get paid a check, okay, unless I have a cushy job where I'm working for a studio. And even then, you might go from one job to the next job, okay? But unless you're working for, like, MLB and you're working for, the home games, which is only 82 games, okay? When they have an away game, you've lost your job for a couple days. You're not getting paid, okay? So in the video game industry and the film industry, you lose your job when you're not doing your stuff. I know it's crazy.
At the end of every production, they draw on a whiteboard a plane that's on fire, and then the analogy is you've got to land, right? Like
When you're shipping and finalizing a build, pushing it out is very difficult. It's easy to break things, so you don't want a lot of people touching the code. You lock it down and only a small number of people make changes.
you've got to eventually get light and land that sucker.
And this is one of the age-old problems in game
I love how she showed Bungie.
development, and it's
Bungie has no management. The worst management.
gotten worse because the teams have gotten big. What do you do with all of these people that you no longer need on the product?
You fire them. You fire them. What are you supposed to do? Keep them in office and give them what? Make copies? They're burning cash. They're burning cash. And this is exactly why I talk about, look at this line. They're all employees, right? Let's say they all work for Bungie. Okay? This first girl is busting her ass off. The second guy is just getting by. Okay? When time has to come, who am I letting go? The person that they make the same money, by the way. Okay? Am I getting rid of the guy who's doing nothing or the girl that's doing everything? Spoiler alert, right? Unless the girl's making more money than the guy, the person that's now overqualified, they'll let them go because they have to save cash.
At the end and beginning of the game. During the ship phase, most of the team rolls off, and in the short term, they typically rest, they take some time off, they come into the office a little later and leave a little earlier. But that downtime doesn't last forever. Soon the team is eager to get back to creating. Talented artists want to make art. They don't want to hang out in the office all
Not only do they want to make art, but they want to move on, and they don't want to make a live service game. We've had these conversations before in the past as well, right? They want to go from one project to the next. They don't want to sit on the same project for 10 years.
day doing nothing. When you ship, it's a perfect time for your competitors to steal your best artists, and they will. Passionate creators need to create, so one option companies take is to have everyone work on downloadable content. The team
See that? Right? So they move them over to downloadable content, but not everyone can sit there for downloadable content, right? Only the few get to move on over to downloadable content or skins or whatever else.
that is rolled off the game can work on new maps, levels, weapons, skins, items that can be shipped later that fans will enjoy and that might bring in a little additional money to keep the studio afloat. I know in recent years, many gamers have gotten upset about downloadable content because they feel like it should be shipped with the game. But the reality is that it's often not ready.
Well, Laura, I have a question. Because the reality is most of the games that come out now are not ready. So not only are the games not coming out ready, but the content that they're making for those games are also not ready, right? I could think of 2 games off the top of my head, right? Both by Ubisoft. Has 3,000 people working on a video game, which is Star Wars Outlaws, Skull and Bones, okay? Like these 2 games from this one company were incomplete when they came out, and then the skins and stuff were also incomplete. So incomplete to incomplete to incomplete, and now you have to wait a year for the stuff to, be finished. Oh, and by the way, Star Wars Outlaws is $26 right now. Physical copy of the disc on Amazon with the digital download of the DLCs for $26. I know some of you paid $120. Just want to let that sink in for a second.
If hooking it up and making it available will destabilize the shipping build, developers aren't going to do it. They'll get the game out and then they'll ship this additional content later. Another option is to move the artist to another game in the studio, one that is moved into production. This is why it's desirable to have multiple games in different stages of development. Obsidian was already working on Outer Worlds 2 when Avowed shipped. They had a place to land their team.
Right. And this is another thing that Microsoft and people, floating heads like myself, don't ever bring up about this, okay? They look at Microsoft and say that Game Pass is unsustainable because they're just blowing cash left and right. But yet all their games that are coming out, right, like Avowed, then Obsidian or Outer Worlds 2, and then whatever their next game is, they're moving the company. So like when the artists are working on something, these guys are in pre-production. When this is out of pre-production, this is in final. So this comes over here. Now the artists start working on this, and so on and so forth. So Bethesda, right, that type of stuff. When you have the Halo company doing their stuff, and their budgets are not astronomically high, okay? They're much lower, and they can put them on Game Pass, and they're making their money back because they're making like, what did we say? Like $450 million a month, roughly, okay, for 12 months, which turns out to be, you know, $4.5 to $5.2 billion before they start shifting it out to everything else.
If a studio doesn't have a second game, they can also take on work from another studio. And you see this happening a lot. They essentially get paid to have their people working on someone else's game while they finish up their own. For example, Crystal Dynamics is currently working on a new Tomb Raider and co-developing a reboot of Perfect Dark with the Xbox studio called The Initiative. Crystal did recently announce a layoff, but it was much smaller than it would have been if they weren't working on multiple projects. Some studios will hire contractors to bulk up the team, since they
Contractors, so they don't have to pay them benefits and stuff like that.
know they don't need them long term. They only hire them for a few months and then let them go after the project is done.
This is another thing people brought up for Microsoft when they're like, oh, well, they ship people out for 18 months, okay? And they're like, oh, they can't be in there. Well, 18 months, but they might be working on multiple things, right? 18 months, they might not even be a full-time crew on one game. They could be a team that comes in for 18 months and works on multiple games in that 18 months, and they're only doing certain sections for that game. When you look at the credits and you see all these things happening, right, and you're like, what department is that?
Microsoft used to do this with testing. They were co-located with the team, and it was a really great pipeline for hiring because if you were a great tester, you would get hired. Another popular option is
Hold on a second. What she just said there, perfect timing.
testing. They were co-located.
Okay. If you were a good tester, meaning you're a better tester than everybody else, you shined. They noticed you, and now you go from a tester to becoming an actual employee for the company. Imagine that. Working harder than other people to get higher in the company. I know, it's crazy.
With the team, and it was a really great pipeline for hiring because if you were a great tester, you would get hired. Another popular option is outsourcing. There are large outsourcing companies that will help you with all different aspects of game development. It's pretty amazing. And oftentimes, they can operate more cheaply than the game studio does. For example, with Virtuous, you can see a long list of titles they've worked on, including Stellar Blade and Call of Duty. And there are many more possible partners. This can allow a team to stay smaller and keep their costs down. Hiring generalists is another strategy. Of course, there are also many famous.
Yeah, I already said that, Altern. Yeah, you could be overqualified. It all depends on what's happening, right? It all depends on where they are in the company. If there's two people making the exact same amount of money, it's going to be whoever the harder worker is going to keep their job. If the harder worker is also the one getting paid more, they're going to lose their job because they would rather lose the pay and let this guy continue because they're paying him less and there's still a potential of him showing himself to become manager material or to get promoted in some way, shape, or form, right?
One-man band games. Games like Stardew Valley and the recent Schedule 1. where everything was primarily done by one person. But on bigger games, they have more specialists, and specialists can't move around easily. Some studios focus on hiring and training more generalists, which gives the team more flexibility. Studios can use some of the downtime to help improve their team members and invest in their skills. But this requires knowing the team. And this brings me to the second thing I see studios struggling with: managing their people.
Oh. Who would have thought?
Look,
Who would have
making
thought?
a game with your friends is a lot of fun. It is one of the best jobs in the world, but it is still a business. And
That's right. Just like anything else. Making donuts is fun. If you love making donuts, it's fun. But it's still a business. And you got to sell those donuts. Right? According to Electronic Entertainment Design Research Institute, just 4% of games that go into production will turn a profit. Only 20% of the titles that make it to store shelves will achieve profitability. What do I say all the time about movies? What do I say all the time about movies? Okay? 7 out of 10 movies are going to bomb. Right? 7 out of 10 movies are going to bomb. 2 movies are going to make a little bit of money. They'll break even or profit, and 1 will be a blockbuster. Ta-da!
you have to run it that way. And it's a hard business. People don't have to give you money. You're singing for your supper.
That's right. Oh, my God. Laura, please come on the show. I would love to have a conversation with you. I would love to have a conversation with you.
Business. People don't have to give you money. You're singing for your supper.
Nobody owes me a goddamn thing. I stand here every single day, and I do the show. If there's no one watching, I'm still going to do the show. Why? Because I like doing the show. Okay? I'm singing for my cash. They're making a product. I'm making a product. Entertainment, you make a product. No one owes me shit. It's just the way it goes. If you can't deal with that, you have to be a special type of person to work in the entertainment field. That's music, art, video games, movies, television, right? If you can't make it check by check, then you can't make it in this business. There's times that I get paid 90 days after I work a job. 90 days, meaning the other 3 months that I got paid for my last job, I have to stretch out, invest, save, do things. And if you can't deal with that, you're never going to make it.
If they don't like what you make, they can just not buy it. And that means you have to be even better at managing the studio and managing the team.
God, I fucking love this. I did not watch this video, by the way. I did not watch this video. Okay? She's talking about the exact same things I'm talking about.
To be blunt, I think a lot of studio leaders have become cowardly and lazy.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you. They have, right? But people will look at this and say, oh, you're being an asshole. You're being mean. They are. They are lazy. They are lazy. Not saying everyone's lazy, but if you're a person, if I say you're lazy and you get offended by that, that's because you think you're lazy. So if you're a game developer and I say you're lazy and you get offended by that, that's because you think you are lazy.
It's part of why we see layoffs accelerating. Leaders aren't doing the hard things anymore. Look, I get it. I don't like dealing with toxic people. Who does? Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to deal with them. But guess what? The leader has to do it because
I love this.
that's what you're getting paid to do.
That's right, Laura. That's exactly what you're getting paid for. Okay? When you get promoted, okay, you're getting paid more money to do more work. At least that's the way it used to be. Right? So when you feel like you're being, oh, God, I got to do more work, but I got promoted, I should do less, and you toss it off to somebody else and then they don't do the job, that's on you, not them.
And if you don't do it, it's not going to get better.
Not being a fan of guns would also be bad enough, but according to the source, Lisa was also advocated for firing and unvaccinated staff members. These stances will perhaps reflective of personal convictions are suggested to contribute divisive and uncomfortable atmosphere at Firewalk Studios.
This is most true with toxic people because they're abusive. If a leader doesn't curb that abusiveness and do something about it, it's not like they improve. They don't suddenly come to their senses and go, wow, I'm kind of being a jerk. I think I'll stop doing that.
It's exactly right. It's exactly right.
It never happens. They just keep being abusive. It only gets worse.
They shouldn't even be in that position in the first place. Because look, let's look. Shit goes downwards, right? There's a head of a company, and if that guy at the head of the company is not paying attention to whoever he hired here, to pay attention to these guys here, which pay attention to these guys down here, okay? Well, that's a problem, okay? So if you promoted an asshole, and the asshole doesn't ever get told that he's an asshole, and he thinks what he's doing is the right way of doing it, well, that's the way it's going to be done, okay? Not until it's too late. When it's too late, meaning you burned all the bridges, you made all the people that were doing the job burnt out, and this is where you hear about crunch and everything else like that. That's because of upper management, not because of the developers. That's because of the upper management.
There is no easy path. You either deal with the person or you lose your talent. Because your best people, they don't have to put up with the abuse. They can find other jobs.
That's right. That's right. You know what? Another thing reporters don't report on, okay? They don't report on the people that just leave the fucking company because it was bad work conditions and they just go somewhere else. But they don't report that. They don't say when Ted leaves the company and he took 5 other employees and they all moved to another company until later down the road when it's speculated that a bunch of people left the company, right? They leave because they're like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with this, right?
And they will. Typically, when you let someone go from a company, you don't talk about why they're being let go. But I have never seen a time when a team revolted after a toxic person or someone who wasn't performing was let go.
That's because everyone, I always joke about this, like if a zombie apocalypse happened, what's the first thing you do, right? What's the first thing you do, chat? If the world was coming to an end and a zombie apocalypse was among us, okay? What's the first thing you do? Right?
It didn't happen.
You first think of yourself. Very selfish. You think of yourself, right? Because if you're dead, how are you going to protect other people, right? So you think of yourself first, and then if you're a family man, okay, you got to look at other people around you. Kids, wife, grandparents, whatever, right? You got to make sure you're okay first, then you help them, okay? Only the capable can do it, right? You got to make hard choices in different things. Because if you're dead, how are they going to survive? Right? Very selfish. Right? That's exactly what it is. Self-preserve first, then when you feel that you're okay and you're safe, then and only then do you help other people.
Happen because they already knew. Leaders walk around thinking somehow people don't know that this person isn't getting their job done or they're being kind of an asshole in the hallways. It's not a secret. Because they have to deal with these people
God, this game looks so bad. So glad it got destroyed in 12 days.
Every day. And it's incredibly frustrating to them. In fact, a lot of times managers and leaders wait so long that their best talent is already out interviewing because they've lost faith. If you're already having regular check-ins with people, you're collecting data on how they're doing, you're talking to their peers, you're giving them feedback, you're having performance reviews. If you're doing all of this, you already have all the data you need to manage people who are not performing out. And this is why I'm saying leaders are lazy, because you already have to do this in order to retain your talent.
That's right. But they get complacent. They get complacent because they're just like, oh yeah, I'm a video game developer. I'm just making a game. What a great job to have. I'm just making a game. Every day they show up. Hey, what's going on, Susie? Just making a game. Okay. And they forget that they're actually in charge of people. They're just in charge of actual people making that game. But when the time comes and the game doesn't make it, you know who they blame. And it's not the guy in the management position. It's everybody else. The devs didn't do their job. This person didn't do their job. The customers didn't buy the game because why? Well, it's because they're sexist, racist, and misogynistic.
You need data on how people are doing so that you can recognize them and reward them. If this sounds harsh, you probably shouldn't lead, because dealing with people that aren't doing great work is the job. And look,
God, she is old school. She's old school. Okay, sorry. I think someone said in the chat. Yeah, El Nini said, "Can't take the heat. Stay out of the kitchen." Exactly right.
I'm not saying you aren't going to give people a chance. You absolutely should. That's the whole point of the regular feedback. If they've been a great performer and they're suddenly not doing so well, you need to figure out why that is, and you need to try to help them get back on track. You shouldn't toss someone out.
I see companies like with the current layoffs, when I hear who's being fired, I said, what? That doesn't make any sense, because that person's like a beacon of knowledge within the company.
The first sign of trouble. It's expensive to hire and train new people, so you should be investing in your team, their skills, and their success. That said, it's also expensive.
And it's what shows a disconnect. I was telling you about, because I know it's being looked at Excel file, right? And the person that makes the decision with the Excel file does not understand what they just lost. And if it's going to cost them way more, they're saying that if they're looking at a spreadsheet, they don't understand that Susie knows what she's talking about. But they're going to let Susie go, and they're going to keep Ted, and Ted's a fucking moron, right? Because the spreadsheet says that Ted's more productive than Susie, right? That's exactly what's happening here.
To carry a person that can't do their job, and it can't go on forever. You can't have one person dragging down the entire team because you only have so much runway. And this gets to the third point. You have to manage costs. You need to spend your money wisely. The cost of making a game is not fixed. It can be managed like any other business. The key is to think about what the studio needs first. Obviously, they need a place to work, either office or home. They need good computers, monitors. They need a desk, and most importantly, a comfortable, ergonomic chair. If you're going to have people sitting,
you give them a bar stool. You only get a chair if you do well.
All day working on art or code or design, they need to not mess up their back. So comfy chairs are important. Of course, if you do have an office, there will need to be whiteboards, meeting spaces, some sort of kitchen, and of course, bathrooms. After that, everything else is optional. And oftentimes,
like the $4,000 espresso machine, the masseuse that comes in and gives you a massage. What was that? What was those videos that they did at Twitter? Remember when Twitter was they were showing what a day in the life of a Twitter employee before Elon bought it? I come into work for 10 minutes and then I take a break. It's like, what?
Sometimes the optional items don't get used. Every studio has some kind of item like a foosball table or a
That's for morale. That's for morale.
Pinball game sitting unused in the corner because it was too loud and distracted everyone that was trying to do work. In my experience, the key talent doesn't have time or any desire to do anything except make their game, and when they are done for the day...
Yeah, if you show up to work and you want to play foosball, let me tell you something. If I was a manager, I would put an air hockey table, a foosball table, an arcade machine, and anybody that I hired touches that foosball table, the arcade machine, or the air hockey table, you're going on a list. Okay? You're going on a list. And that list is going to tell me that these people would rather play games than make games. And I don't want you. So the time it comes around for where it comes to let go people, anyone that touched that table, you're on the chopping block. But that's just what I would do.
They want to go out and spend time with their family, their friends, or even work on a pet project. This is a little secret about the games industry that I found, that the best engineers and designers were always working on a pet project in their free time, because doing that work was the core of who they were. It was in the fabric of their being. The same was true of key talent working in big tech companies.
Right in the heart of Silicon Valley, Facebook is cooking up a big new project to expand its Menlo Park campus into what can only be described as a fully fledged town.
The campus was crazy. They had massive amounts of overspending in all sorts of areas. Any kind of food you wanted, ice cream, it was nice. But the worst part about it is that it attracted the exact wrong kind of employee.
I love that Laura is saying all of this. Okay, I don't know how old she is. I think she's around my age, maybe a little older, right? She's got to be like a little older, right? makes me feel good. That's not very 2025 of you, 30. Well, I would feel sad for people. This is why I work from home and on YouTube, Dolphin, because if I was a manager, all these little fluffy little bunnies that would come into work and be like, I don't have my chai latte. Get out. Get out.
Why would you want to attract talent that wants to spend the day working in the woodworking shop instead of making Instagram great?
That's exactly right. If you're touching, okay, an air hockey table, then you're not working. If you're on your break, fine. But if you're like, I just need to take a second, and you're playing more air hockey, and you guys are doing like tournaments and stuff, and then you're saying, no, sorry. If you're out in the park out front of the building, and not on your lunch break, just because you're having a mental breakdown, sorry. All of these things go into when time comes to get rid of people, you know who you're getting rid of.
Great. The people who had time to spend in the Facebook woodworking shop each day were...
I'm sorry. Was there a literally Facebook woodworking shop?
The people who had time to...
Sign up for a class at the wood shop. What are we doing here?
Spend in the Facebook woodworking shop each day were by definition not key talent. And I can...
If you're working at Facebook and you're signing up for a woodworking class, go work in a woodworking shop. What the are we talking about?
I assure you, these people were also the ones complaining about work-life balance and how they were always at work. After providing what is needed for getting the game done, then you have things like health insurance, vacation time, things that are must-haves but also can be scaled based on your budget and the culture you want to create in the studio.
One of the most higher up people in the offices are the first things you see when you walk in.
It kind of cements home the overall theme where it's like, hey, it's in Chicago, not exactly the hotbed of game development these days. It's just some good old-fashioned Midwestern humility going on down there. It's focused, it's not glitzy, it's not glamorous, but they love their past and they're good at what they do.
Games have always been a challenge because even when you do everything right, you can still fail. Even when your heart's in the right place, you listen to the customer and you actually make something gamers want to play, you can still lose. Because entertainment is by definition risky.
Yes, 100%. Everything you do, this YouTube channel, the movie theater, the television show, the video game, the new album dropping, they're all very risky.
It's not like food. It's not like heating oil. People don't have to have it. They can simply choose to take their money and spend it on a different game or some other form of entertainment. Game leaders need to get back to paying attention to the details, to making great games that they can afford to make, building trust with their team by rewarding and protecting their best people, and by doing the hard things, making the tough choices.
Very well protected as an employee. So when the studio goes down, the one that's shafted is the owner, right? So I didn't want to burden them with it. They would always be taken care of. It was me that my life would have been over.
Over time?
What he just said there, that's exactly right. What's happening in my personal life or what's happening anything outside of this camera is none of your business, right? It's none of your concern, right? If I turn on the camera and I'm doing my job, or if I'm running a company, I don't want my employees to know that I'm in debt or I have a massive problem. You keep your life outside, and when you come to work, you put your work face on. Okay? If you want to call that fake or not, but as a leader, you don't want to burden your employees on what's happening with you. Okay? Now you could say that that's distancing yourself from your employees, but there's a point to it, right? It's none of their concern. You hire them to do their job, okay? You set the tone. Everyone has issues. Everybody has issues. We all have our own issues and problems. But when someone's paying for you to be at their location to do their work, that's none of my business. Go take the money that I'm paying you, go get a therapist. Go get the money that I'm paying you to be a worker, go get a doctor.
Sven did come out and tell us that this was basically the do or die project because we had a meeting about it with the whole company and we were told that this needed to be it, basically, or it was doors closed.
It used to be that studios would do everything possible to avoid layoffs. They would cut costs, they would be very careful about managing their projects, because it was only as a last resort that they would do that.
Dolphin, how could you be an employee? I don't pay you. Yeah. I don't know if you know what an employee is.
And sometimes it worked. They could let people go and then hire them back once they had more financing, once they signed another game. But lately, that's not what's happening. And it really needs to change because it's not sustainable. I'm hoping that after seeing what's been happening over the last few years, that studios are going to get it together and that we're going to reverse this trend and that this will no longer be the way that games are made.
This is the video game industry. This is the video game industry. Okay. Employee. New manager. New game. Right? It doesn't matter. This is the new way of the industry. Okay? This is the shit way of the industry. Before it would be everyone in this box, every single employee in this box is an important person to be a part of making this game, making this movie, making this product. But now it's, bad attitude, lazy, getting paid too much, right? It doesn't matter. Let's just keep this box, but everyone inside of it, it doesn't matter because we don't care. How do we make the most money as possible? Well, to make the most money possible, you've got to keep costs down and charge as much price as possible. Hence why they $80, $90 now, where those games come out broke, buggy, unfinished. Don't forget, get the Outlaws full edition, $120 right now, or get the $18 on Ubisoft Plus, okay? And then wait one full year to get the content out, or just wait one full year and pay $20 for the game. Seems a little strange, doesn't it?
I keep on seeing the same mistakes over and over and over, and it's always the quarterly profits. The only thing that matters is the numbers, and then you fire everybody, and then like next year you're going to see, shit, I'm out of developers, and you're going to start hiring people again, and then you do acquisitions, and then you put them in the same loop again, and it's just be broken and broken and broken. You don't have to. You just can make reserves, slow down a little bit, slow down on the greed, be resilient, take care of the people, don't lose the institutional knowledge that's been built up in all of those people that you lose every single time, so that you have to go through the same cycle over and over and over.
There you go, chat. Good video. Good video.
It no longer pays salary.
It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that what he just said and what she just said in that video is like mind-boggling. That people are like, "What? How do we operate a business without losing people?" Wait, to get morale for people that are doing their job, we have to get a coffee maker? You could get a coffee maker. You don't got to spend $10,000 to get a espresso machine, right? You could just go buy Starbucks. You don't have to put a Starbucks in your shop, right? You can have a woodshop class and say, "Hey guys, just let you guys know, if anyone's interested in woodshop, after work, when we're done working, once a week, whatever, we have a woodshop class. If anyone's interested, it's just our spare time. If you guys are interested, right? Like, not when I show up, you walk into, you clock in and go, I'll be back. I'm going to go to the woodshop class. Like, huh? What are we talking about? Didn't I hire you to be a coder? Why are you woodworking? If you want to go work in a wood shop, go get a job in a wood shop. There's apprentices, right? It's so strange to me. So strange. Ray says, what's the point of a coffee machine if you don't have time to enjoy it? How much time do you need to enjoy a $10,000 espresso machine, Ray? You know, you could still get a coffee from a coffee machine. You could bring your own coffee. $15 minutes. Yeah, you have 15 minutes. Yeah, you have 15 minutes. You work 8 hours, you get a 15-minute break, and then you get a half-hour lunch, and then you get another 15-minute break, right? But the problem is they're going and taking the 15 minutes to walk to get the coffee, and then another 15 minutes to walk back after they get the coffee. And then the developers are like, well, let's just get a coffee machine. They're like, well, no one likes the coffee here, so let's get the same coffee machine that Starbucks has down the street. And then they pay $10,000 for an espresso machine. And then people start taking the espresso machine, and then they get a lot of comfort. They get real comfortable. They're like, oh, this is nice. Right? And they don't want to sit at their desk drinking the espresso, so they have to put a comfortable couch in the break area. And then there's not enough seating spaces, so then they have to put another couch. And then they're buying a furniture store to put into the spot where all these people are having coffee at the exact same time when they can just have the coffee at their desk. Right? There's luxury and then there's business, right? The business is to make a video game or to make a movie or to... Do you know what I sit on most of the time when I'm on a movie set? It's called an Apple box. Let me show you what an Apple box is, okay? Right? Or we sit on a or we sit on the floor, or we sit this is it. This is the most comfortable thing you'll ever sit on a movie set. Okay? Here's the key. If you ever want to work in the film industry, the first thing you want to do is make friends with the grip department, okay? Because the grip department is in charge of the Apple boxes, okay? Since we're going down this rabbit hole here, okay?
Where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
No, actually, my ass is busted because I broke it on a boat. The boat slammed down and my ass hit a cup holder made of fiberglass and shattered my tailbone. That's the real reason my ass is busted, not because of an Apple box. But let's go back to the Apple box, shall we? Okay. You want to get in good with a grip because a grip has these in their grip truck. And if you don't get in with let's say you just piss a grip off, okay? And you're like, hey, I got a 100-pound camera or I got a heavy rig on me. And they're like, you want an Apple box? You're just like, fuck yeah, do I? All right. And they, boom, it's there. So versatile. You can sit low and high. You can use it as a table, right? Nobody needs a $10,000 coffee maker and a $10,000 seat so you can sit and sip your coffee, okay? You get a coffee, you sit on the fucking box, and when you're done, you get back up and you do your work. I know, it's crazy. I know it's crazy. She says, many of us have worked years without this BS extras. You work. That's why it's called a job. You know what would make cutting grass a lot easier? Man, if I had a person with a fan following me around to keep me cool as I'm cutting the grass. Right? And then maybe if I did a, hold on, let me see. I know someone created it. Yeah, come on. Give me a picture of someone putting a sofa. Yeah, right here. Perfect. This is what you need, okay? This guy right here made himself. Hold on, let me find it. Where is it? Well, we don't have it now. Oh, right here. Perfect. Okay. This gentleman right here took lawn mowing to the next level. He's like, you know what would make lawn mowing more efficient is me falling asleep on my recliner as I cut the grass. Actually, it's pretty smart. But you get the drift, right? Like, if you just cut the grass and you do it quick enough, you could get back inside in the air conditioning and be done with it. There's a shared progressive roadcraft for co-op. Okay, I'll take that out. Ron says the police station needs a wood shop class. Ray says, I inherited a small cleaning company, and we cleaned the same place for over 37 years and got through 4 different administrators. Having friends is very important, but lost a client this year. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully it wasn't a giant client. A giant client where it was like 50% of your income. Z says, this is the stuff they don't teach at Full Sail. I know they did not at my music school. What, telling you to get good with the grip department? You're welcome. You're welcome, Water. Why he's cutting the grass? You have him fan you or something, right? Have him follow you around with the fan. That's exactly right. Go. Here's a long extension cord. Stay close to me. All right, stay close to me. All right. The next story is Netflix is saving Hollywood. The CEO considered going to the theater, an outmoded idea, okay, for most people. If you guys like what I do, we just do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. It was 70% of my income and had to let go with 3 guys, but I have income for myself and the family. Yeah, that sucks. We had a situation similar to that, or I should say we. My family, that I married into, my wife's family, they had the same situation where, without going too in depth, but a person that was a huge account, basically, their dad passed, and the kids that inherited the company didn't want to deal with the business, or they just didn't know how to run a business. So the business went under. And when their business went under, it affected our business because they were a big chunk of it as well, right? That sucks. Yeah. Where the old timer passed and the young didn't give a shit about his business or whatnot, and they let it basically fall, right? They just didn't care. Which is stupid because now they're in bad shape because they could have inherited a multi-million-dollar company, but instead they let it burn down. El Nini says, "What's up, Lono?" Do I look like Lono? Oh, wrong chat. There you go. So Netflix is saving Hollywood. CEO considers going to the theater, an outmoded idea for most people. Okay. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos has claimed that streamer is saving Hollywood and believes that they're going into an outdated idea for most people. I don't know if Netflix is saving Hollywood or is it destroying Hollywood and then saving it? Like, make the problem and then sell the solution. You see what I'm saying? Because when Netflix first started, it was just taking other people's work and putting it in a different format, right? It was just discs, and they would mail you discs. But then they said, hey, what about if we stop mailing discs and put it digital and then discs? And then they decided that they would pay for other people's movies and stuff to put on their service to bring people to Netflix. And then they decided to not do that as much and then take a shit ton of money that they've made over the years and throw it towards original content. So they made the problem. And now they are the solution to the problem because they've made the problem. Okay. So at the Time 100 Summit this week, Sarandos, despite production leaving Los Angeles in droves, the drastic downsizing of the theatrical window, the rapid theatrical experience from the audience perspective, and the middling box office returns for the number of films, Netflix is the white knight of the industry. Again, in my perspective, and this is coming from a person from the industry. Now, productions used to take, say, anywhere between like 6 weeks, all depending on what the production was, to like 6 months, all depending on what the production was. Okay. Netflix started lowballing people. Okay. Netflix, when they first started doing stuff, they were lowballing people. They would shoot the whole series. Okay. Instead of shooting a movie, they would shoot the whole series. And I would still get my day rate, but we had to finish the whole series within, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Okay. Hence why Disney's doing what they're doing with the shooting schedule. And this is why they have 8 episodes and not 23 episodes and whatnot. So they undercutted, right? They undercutted the business where they also didn't want to pay the union rates and stuff like that. And that's what they did. So they made a problem where people were like, well, I have to work, okay? And I could do a job where instead of working on one feature film, I could work for Netflix and do their feature film and be done in half the time. Still not making the same amount of money because I'm getting paid by the day, okay, day rate, unless it went overtime or gold time or anything like that. But if I had a contract or did 6 weeks before, but now I'm only doing 3 weeks, and then after the 3 weeks is done, I have to go find another job every 3 weeks, okay? So they made the problem there. It says, no, we're saving Hollywood, he explained to the audience. Yeah, they're making bank, but they're not saving Hollywood, okay? Adding to the streamers is a very consumer-focused company. And again, I totally agree with that, right? For the consumer's perspective, very well. It's Game Pass, right? Netflix, Game Pass are like the same, okay? But from the other side, they're not. Netflix is making a lot of money from this, but the people making the productions were not. Okay. He added that we deliver the program to you in a way you want to watch it. Okay. Which is convenience. And that we've talked about this in the past as far as people want convenience. Hence why Xbox coming out with a handheld, if it has Steam on there, it's more convenient. It might be a hit. You know what I mean? Sarandos also commented on the downturn of the box office sales. What is the consumer trying to tell us? He asked, ironically. He says, quote, that they like to watch movies at home. Interestingly enough, now, okay, before I continue with this, I'm going to say this is almost in the same type of format. Now, I don't want to not admit that, yeah, people like to watch stuff at home, of course, okay? But there's a shit ton of people that want to go to the theater. Just like the very first story that we had was talking about Square Enix, how they said nobody wanted that type of game anymore, like a Final Fantasy, right, turn-based game. And yet, this game comes out, Expedition 33, and people want that, right? So people are saying, the customers are saying, we don't want to go to the movies anymore. Well, no, they don't want to go to the movies anymore because there's a lot of shit out there that is not a good movie. Make a game, sell a game. Make a movie, sell a movie. There's not a lot of good movies, okay, that come out anymore. And when they do, they make a lot of money, right? We've seen it. Hell, even movies that are not good movies like Minecraft makes a shit ton of money at the box office. It's still plausible to make money. But what Netflix is saying is that nobody wants to go to the theaters. No, people want to go to the theaters. Hell, people went to go see, episode 3 in theaters just this past weekend, and it made like $30 million for a 30-year-old movie or 25-year-old movie, right? So it's like, or 20-year-old movie, okay? Like, what are we talking about here? So it says showcase love for going to the theater, but not without any of the downplaying of the experience on a whole. He says, quote, I believe that the outmoded idea for most people, he said, not for everybody. It should come as no surprise that the CEO of streaming service, to end all streaming services, would hold these kinds of opinions. Of course. Why would he go, yeah, no, I think Netflix is not a good proposition and you should go to the theaters. He's the CEO of Netflix. He's not going to tell you to go to theaters. After all, it's in the company's best interest to push streaming about cinema going. Exactly right. Hollywood's struggle are well-documented. Family movies like Inside Out 2, video game adaptations like Minecraft movie appear to be propping up the business, with even Marvel movies, once guaranteed billion-dollar blockbusters, now hit and miss. But do you see what I'm... See, right there, that word. Once guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. The only thing guaranteed is birth and death. Those are the only things that are guaranteed in life. Birth and death. Okay? Everything else in the entertainment industry, anyway, is earned. Okay? So the once guaranteed $1 billion, nothing is guaranteed. Make a product, sell a product. Make a good product. Yes, you can make $1 billion. But to say that once guaranteed $1 billion, that is the problem. That is the problem right there, because they think that, oh, if we make this, it is going to give us $1 billion. No. Rinse and repeat. Boredom. First story of the day. Final Fantasy coming out, same type of thing. Madden comes out, same type of thing. Call of Duty comes out every year, same type of thing. People get bored of it. They get bland of it. Okay? Nothing's guaranteed except birth and death. Okay? But if it's going to, actually, sometimes birth is not even guaranteed. Okay? But it's going to be a cinema, now old-fashioned. Last year, legendary actor William Dafoe said people watch films differently now at home rather than at the cinemas, which is closing down, which is tragic because the kind of attention that people give at home isn't the same, Defoe said. No, at home, you're like this, okay? My wife did this weekend. She said, you want to watch a movie this weekend? I said, sure. She asked us if we watch a movie, so we sat and watched a movie. We watched Moana 2, okay? We watched Moana 2. I look over, she's on her phone. I'm like, are you watching the movie? I am. Are you? Right? That is the problem. That does not happen in the movie theater. You do not pull your phone out in the theater. Okay. Right. Then my son, hold on a second. He's playing with something on the ground. He's bouncing a ball. He's doing stuff while you're watching a movie at home. Right. That doesn't happen at the theater unless you say chicken jockey. Okay. So it's a completely different experience. I don't think movie theaters, people don't want to go to the theater. They don't want to go to the theater to see a shitty movie. They don't want to go to the theater to spend $15 on popcorn. They don't want to go to the theater to have someone on their phone or crying baby. Okay. But they'll deal with it as long as something's good, right? What's the new one that just came out? Sin? Whatever it's called, with Michael B. Jordan, right? More difficult movies, more challenging movies can also not do as well when you have to do the audience and really paying attention. That's a big thing. I miss the social thing and where movies fit in the world. You go see a movie, you go out to dinner, you talk about it later, and it spreads out. People now go home and they say, hey, honey, let's watch something stupid tonight. They flip through it, watch 5 minutes of 10 movies, and they say, forget it, let's go to bed. Where's the discourse found? This is exactly where I have a problem when a show comes out and you binge watch it instead of slow dropping it. Okay, again, personal preference. Back in 2022, acclaimed filmmaker Steven Soderbergh shared his thoughts on the future of movie theaters and how the cinema habits could continue to live on in his age of streaming. He said that while there's a little appeal that the industry's future lies in convincing young audiences to keep attending as they grow older, Soderbergh, who knows for his Ocean's 11 series amongst many other Hollywood hits, considered how movie theaters and streaming services can continue to coexist. He identified programming and engagement as two key areas to need careful consideration in order to keep the cinema-going experience alive. He says, I think people still want to go out, Soderbergh said, acknowledging the reason behind taking a trip to the box office. He says, quote, there's still an appeal to seeing a movie in the movie theater. Still a great destination. And it really depends on, I think, the ability to attract, to convince the older audience to continue to come out. If it has nothing to do with the windowing, of the terms of the amount of time left between the theater and the home release. Okay, so we've talked about this in the past about how quick it comes out. If you make a problem, you can sell a solution, right? The problem is if they stop putting movies in theaters and coming out on streaming services so fast, because they got to make the money up front. They got to make the money so fast, right? Instead of, because they have to make all the money, instead of putting it in theaters, saying, hey, look, it's not coming out for 6 months, 8 months. That's where it sits. Then they put it out in the renting area, and you have to rent it for the next 6 months. And then they put it on a streaming service where you can watch it, okay? Let me give you a comparison here. Just like us, if we don't like something like the video game, vote with your wallets, okay? On the business side of movies, if the movie theaters kept their stuff in the theater, they could vote with their wallets. And what I'm saying by this is, if they don't feel pressured because they're like, we put it in the theater and we have to put it out as fast as possible to make that money back as fast as possible. If they know it's going to make money, because a lot of movies still make money in the distance. They don't make money in the first 6 weeks anymore. They can make the longevity of it down the road. They could hold off and change what's happening in the industry right now. If all the theater companies got together and said, no, we're staying with the industry of we're putting the movies out and we're keeping it in theaters for a certain period of time, and then it goes to rentals, and then it stays there for a period of time, and then it goes to streaming, not within 17 days, then more people would go, oh, man, I got to wait that long to get the movie. You would probably forget about the movie, or you would rent the movie, or you would get the... But if it's not coming directly to Netflix all the time, Netflix could still have their first-party titles that they put out, their first original programming that they could put out, and they could make money off that, but you would still have to pay for Netflix, right? You would still have to pay for Netflix to keep that going, just like you pay for Game Pass to keep that going, okay? But for all the other movies, if they don't have to put it over on Netflix, if they didn't have their own streaming services and they had to put it over on Netflix, Netflix would chomp at the bit, just like they did in the past, because they want those good movies. If they make a good movie and it sells well in the theaters, Netflix wants that movie on their device. They want it on their system because they want more people go watch it. The theater owners, the studios all have to stop with this. We got to make it upfront now. They have to make something where if they make a movie and it makes billions of dollars, they have to put a nesting egg in the back and let that sit there for a while to cook. Otherwise, it's going to get worse and worse, and you're going to get what it is today, where you might like watching a movie at home, but just like the video game industry, there's too many movies, there's too many video games. It's bloated. They're overproduced, over budget. Okay, they don't make enough movie when they go to the theaters because they're making movies at $300 million. Netflix is paying $200 million to put a thing on with their subscribers. Okay, most of these things are not making their money back. But what Netflix is doing is the exact same thing as the movie theater is doing. Netflix can release 10 movies a year. Okay, and 7 of them will bomb, and 3 of them make money for subscribers. Okay, movie theater is the exact same thing. It's just changing the business model. But Netflix is physically hurting the movie industry, not saving the movie industry. They're making the problem and then selling the solution, and their solution is not very good in my opinion, because there are good shows, don't get me wrong, okay? But majority of it's a bargain bin. Most of it's bargain bin because they're just not putting the quality in, and there's too much stuff coming out. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about the movie industry, about Netflix? Netflix saying, obviously this is the CEO, saying that he's saving the Hollywood, not hurting Hollywood. Let me know in your comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like this, please make sure you check out some of our videos. Thanks for watching. Let's go on, Ginger. Ginger says, haven't they poisoned the well, meaning viewers have been trained to wait and watch at home? Yes, but they could completely retrain. You ever retrain your dog or retrain a bad habit? Bad habits are hard to break, okay? But if the movie industry, in my opinion, Ginger, in my opinion, if the studios in the movie industry, okay, right, you just got a new dog? Yeah, I'll just get a new dog. Yeah, but even if you get a new dog, you got to teach him the right way, right? So the point to it, though, is that if the movie industry decides, hey, we're releasing a movie and it's not leaving this theater, it stays in the theater. It used to go from theater to DVDs to then to like home box office, Showtime, and then you could come to your house, okay, and you would buy it, okay. So that's the way it used to do it. It would leave the theaters, go to these other services, and then come to buy. If they go back to this method and say, we're staying in theaters for 45 days, you want to watch it in theaters, watch it in theaters, but then it goes cold, right? Or it goes straight to just renting, and you make the rental just a little bit higher in price to push people. Well, if I have to wait, then I'm going to rent it for a little high, and then once it's done being rented, then it goes on the streaming service. Back in the day, you urge that feeling of, oh man, I can't wait. When does that come out? When does that come out on DVD? When does that come out to the thing? Now it's 17 days. 17 days. A movie could be in theaters and then it's on streaming service. So it's like, why do I have to go to the theater? You just wait. You're just like, I'll just wait, right? Or you'll build up and say, I'll wait 6 months and then get Netflix and then watch a bunch of movies. Okay? That's not saving Hollywood, right? That's not saving Hollywood. That's hurting Hollywood. Warbert says, what do we need to balance? But greed is a real thing. But it still comes down to one thing, that the product still sell a product. Right? Make a good movie, sell a movie. Like if you go to the box office right now, you'll see a lot of movies that bomb. Right? We also have to know the budget of the movie. Minecraft is successful. It's going to break $800 million, right? Right? Then you have Snow White that cost $350 million. And it's not going to make its money back. It's going to lose $200 million. Waterbear says, if you make a great movie, and we'll pay to see it, I'll play it regardless of the platform it's on. At least most of us. That's right, because we just want to be entertained. The problem, though, is less people are going to the theater, and they're charging more money for the tickets. Right? We show that stat, 2 weeks ago? Ray says, movie theaters are closing down, and you have to drive farther and farther away to watch a movie. The closest movie theater for me is 45 minutes. See, that's crazy. I don't know where you live, Ray, but by me, the closest one's like 4 miles away, and then there's another one that's like 8 miles away, and there's another one that's like 6 miles away, right? My popcorn at home is 40 cents. The popcorn at the theater is $8. Nate says, WWE Monday Night Raw is on Netflix is the only reason I got Netflix. But Netflix knows that. And Netflix is also showing football games this year. They're showing different, you know what I'm saying? They know they have to outsource other things because otherwise it wouldn't be sustainable for them. They got to throw money at people. Waterbear says, hell, even the Dollar Tree popcorn's like $1.25. Movie has to be really good, or I have to really be interested, and otherwise I'll wait. Yeah, but wasn't that the way it was before, Jones? What changed? Right? What changed? Back in the day, before Netflix, when would you go to the theater? What would change? You would go to the movie if you were interested. Why aren't you interested now going to the theater? Because most movies that come in the theater don't look interesting. Right? So if they made a good movie, you'll go see a good movie. Well, that's why. My fan is... My son must have came in and played with it. I'm like, why don't I feel my fan? There we go. He had it reversed. I'm like sweating over here. Waterbear says $8 is for a small, large is $14. Refillable. I spent $125 the other day. It's just for a family of 4 to go to the movies. Jesus Christ, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy, Water. I mean, Ginger's here. Ginger's not going to the theaters because he's got a lot of kids. Yeah. Same with Greg. Greg goes to the theater quite a bit, actually. Okay. But that's hard when you have a big family like that. That's expensive. Right? If I go to the theater in the afternoon by myself, it's like $6, $7 before like a noon showing. Okay. You take 2 adults, 4 kids. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. right? That's a treat. You're not going to the theater once a week. Me and my wife used to go to the theater 3 times a week back 20 years ago. $4.50 was the theater, which is one movie now, right? Which is one movie now, not in matinee. The price of a movie trick is to just doesn't look interesting, or is it just a reboot, remake, or old movies? Right. Ginger says, I took my kids to go Minecraft movie for like 150. Yes, that's a lot of money. That's like going on vacation. You know what I mean? Like, we live in Orlando, right? So if I go to iDrive, take the kid or take my nephew or whatever, whatever you pick, it's $150, $200 day, right? Go to the go-kart place, go to miniature golfing, go get lunch, whatever. It's an event to go out, right? Movies used to be, and this is what a lot of people, right? Movies used to be a cheap way of entertainment yourself for two hours. Now it's like this high-end thing, right? You got they make it high-end where now you get like valet parking. I don't care about valet parking, right? I don't want your popcorn, right? They try to make the value there, but meanwhile, it's just you're pricing yourself out of the market. I bet you more people would go to the theater if you just lowered the price rather than say, oh, it's not a good movie. More people go to the theater. You could look at the charts that there is 1/3 less people, right? Or 3/4? What was the chart? I think it was 3/4. Yeah, there's 3/4 less people going to the theater, right? Right? 3/4 of the people not going to theater, but yet they're still making billions of dollars off movies. Think about that, right? 3/4 less going to the theater, and yet they're still making money in the billions of dollars. Back then, you would have to have 3 times the amount of people going to the theater to make the money they're making now. So what's the incentive? They're incentivized by, well, we'll just leave it where it is. We don't care if there's less people coming. We're still making the $20. That's the same thing the video game industry is doing. Video game industry is doing the exact same thing. Right? They're bloated, over budget, and they're like, we're charging $100 now, or potentially $100 for a video game. 80, 90. Ray says, when I travel to Mexico, I go to the movie theater because it's like $3 US. Sneak a water bottle. You don't have to sneak water bottles in. You can actually just bring a water bottle into the theater now. Waterbear says, going to see Thunderbolts. My 2 older kids want to go with the wife and myself, and I'm having a second thoughts. Let me know if I have no interest in that movie. 0 interest. Not because of anything else besides it doesn't look good. Just doesn't look good. I'm starting to convert to units of Switches. So going to the movies with the kids cost me 1/3 a Switch 2. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Be like, yeah, I went to the car dealership the other day. It was going to cost me 15 Switch 2s. Be like, what? Yeah, to repair my I got new tires on my car. That's 6 Switch 2s. That'll be the new gold standard. Switch 2s. We've switched our gold. We're not in the gold standard anymore. We're in the Switch 2 era. Ginger says, yeah, the price is so high that we don't do the theater, meaning that we just see less movies. And the next movie I plan to see with the kids, not all of them, is the Superman movie. Well, now movies are becoming so expensive that Ginger has to pick what kids get to go see it. that's you've missed the boat as a movie director or industry, like a studio head. If you're like, yeah, you should do an interview. That should be a stand-up act, Ginger. You should put that in your stand-up act. Be like, my kids are battling it out for who could get to the theater. Only my favorite get to go. Right? You got to add that into your stand-up act. Argus says, the place I go to watch movies now has recliners, service foods like burgers and pizza, wings and subs, tenders, a bunch of other stuff, along with the basic popcorn and soda, and they have alcohol. Yeah, they've had that over here for 2 decades. We need to repeal child labor laws just to go put the the summer is when the big blockbusters drop. I want to go see Superman in theaters. I do. I want to go see Superman in theaters. I don't know if I'm going to see Fantastic Four in theaters. I think I'm going to wait on Fantastic Four. But I definitely want to go see Superman. Who wants to go to the movies, kids? Get a job. See you later. My son is funny. He will not want to go see the kiddie movies. He wants to go see my son's like a 60-year-old man stuck in a 10-year-old body. Like he's more interested in more like real films. It's weird. Like he doesn't want to go see like Paddington or the Minions. There was a movie we saw, was it last year? I think it was called Jewel. It's about an alien that comes to the planet and he hangs out with a bunch of old people. I think it was Jewel? I forget what the hell it was called. I was just laughing the entire time. It's not really that big of a comedy. I was laughing because my son was enjoying it, and I was just like, the hell happened? Eclipse is the only reason I want to see in theaters is Superman. But why? Right? Why do you want to see Superman, but you don't want to see Thunderbolts, or you don't want to see Fantastic Four, or you don't want to see, right? I want to see Mission Impossible, right? I want to see Mission Impossible. I want to see Superman. I want to go see Avatar when it comes to theaters. I like watching those in the theater. 3D and all. I like all that stuff, right? That's an experience if you go see Avatar in theaters. The Mission Impossible. There's one more that I really wanted to see. Alton says, okay, so if that has a bunch of papers and that some of them, one others are empty, the other ones have a number, will go into the theater with me today. The rest of you will stay home with mom. All right, let me read that again, Alton. Okay. We got a bunch of papers in this hat. One of the other ones some are going to say movie theater, the other ones are going to be empty. Okay. The ones that have a number on it will go to the theater with me, and the rest of you will stay home with mom. Pick. Waterbird says the rap group Outkast is getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's about damn time. I don't want to see Jurassic World. Do you know why, Water? I like Scarlett Johansson, but anything I see her in now, especially if she's in an action movie, she's just Black Widow, which kind of ruins it for me. So can't watch it. Be like, oh, it's Black Widow. Why is she playing dinosaurs now? Because in my head, Water, when she died or when she got sucked into the thing, like the what if, she's in a different alternate universe right now, and now Black Widow is just she's a mercenary now in the dinosaur universe. That's the way I look at it. So I can't do it. Yeah. So the whole metaverse is fucked up in my head now. Yeah, no, same with Chris Evans. I see him in something, I'm like, that's Captain America. He just went back in time, and now he's playing a different character. Yep. That's the damage it's done to me. Yeah. That's the damage it's done. It's like the guy that played M.R. Anderson in The Matrix. Everything I see him in, it's like that, and I can see. I mean, look. Red Skull, okay, is in The Matrix. right? Matrix came out way before, but once he busted out of the Matrix, he worked for the for Hydra, right? And then he got teleported into, and now he's the keeper, right? He's the keeper now. That's what happens when you take the same actors and bring them across the whole thing, right? All right. Pedro Pascal has gone through the time warp stuff, and now he's just the same character. He's Pedro Pascal, but he's in all these different. So Morgan Freeman is one of the. You pray at night. That's right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, he's God. I mean, to be funny, Ray, I don't know if you ever watched the movie called Oh God Book. There's Oh God Book 1, Oh God Book 2, right? I think there was 3 of them. Okay. And what was his name? Richard, was it Burns? I can't think of his name now. Help me out, Sarge. George Burns, right? George Burns was the actor, and he played God in the movie. And for the longest time, it was just 2 movies. It was Oh God Book 1, Oh God Book 2. For the longest time, that's who I thought God was. I shit you not. That's what I thought God was. George Burns. When I saw George Burns on The Tonight Show or anything else, I was like, that's God. That's God. Maybe that's why the nuns didn't like me when I went to Sunday school. Krebsy says the solution is on the consumer side. It's the production side. CGI team is overworked. You can write for the top movies with no experience. Directors used to sell movies now, and they're just a name, etc. Yeah. You don't even know who's in Superman, but James Gunn, he's the director. James Gunn is the director. Most people have no idea who the actors are in Superman. They're like, who? Corn who? They're like, oh, James Gunn. Yeah, James Gunn Superman. Got it. Hope it's good. Otherwise, James Gunn's going to be, he's done. They're going to be done after this. If this movie bombs, if Superman bombs, James Gunn is done before it even starts. This is the start of his universe. And if it sucks, it's done. We'll see. It's not getting very good. They've done things multiple times. They've done reshoots multiple times. They've edited differently. Now this happens a lot with movies, but it's different when you have a blockbuster like this, and there's so much writing it. I don't know what's got more writing on it, chat. What do you think's got more writing on it? Superman, James Gunn Superman, or Kevin Feige Fantastic Four? Which one's got more writing on it? Because Superman's the reboot of James Gunn's DC universe, and Fantastic Four is sort of like the reset button from the Infinity Saga type of thing. You know what I mean? Because this has always been bad for DC. They have never really had a massive what Marvel's doing. And Marvel's trying to get back to what this was. So who's more at... Who needs a hit bigger? Marvel to get back on top or DC? I think it's DC. I think it's James Gunn. I think there's more pressure on that because if Marvel's done, they've already made their billions of dollars, right? They could just stop for a couple years and then reboot, whatever. But Superman, they've just never done it right. For the last, decade and a half? Ginger says Superman. Roadkill says James Gunn's Superman. No. That's not the way the marketing is, Roadkill. It's James Gunn's Superman. It's not Superman. It should be Superman. It should be Superman. Roadkill says, I bet a lot of young kids don't even know about the Fantastic Four. compared to Superman. That's freaking Superman. No, I know. I get it. Water says DC needs this more. What if Iron Man never became Iron Man, instead of is a method actor, and he pretended to be be black in the jungle, and this is how he got Tropic Thunder? Right. Tony Stark is in Tropic Thunder. Roadkill says Fantastic Four looks like they made it by the WandaVision people, and they don't give a shit about the stuff that is dead to me. Yeah, I mean, it looks weird, and I have a look. I have this like super power ability of figuring out movies before it comes out, and obviously their world's dead. Their world's dying. They're going to get teleported to the next multiverse, and then they're going to end up in the Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday type of thing. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Because I'm still trying to figure out because they've already said that Sue Storm is pregnant, right? So I'm trying to think now. Is Sue Storm's baby become a bigger part down the road, right? Or does she lose the baby, and then there's this whole turmoil of they've lost the kid, and now there's this whole, like, I'm a terrible father from Reed Richards and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. Roka says Marvel needs to do some real shit and hate every movie that they turn bad guy into a hero every single time. Let the bad guy be a bad guy. I say Power Rangers and magical girls need to take over the Marvel and DC. Fantastic Four will be very grim and their universe ends. Yeah, no, I think it will be. Just like Avengers Infinity War was very grim. Moving into the end game. That's what I think Fantastic Four is going to be. I think it's going to be very grim. It can't end happy. It's going to be a downer going into Doomsday Avengers, which I believe is also going to be a downer because isn't there an Avenger movie 26 and 27? Because this is part 1 and part 2. So you're going to have a very grim big 3 films. Sue Storm's babies, Franklin Richards, a.k.a. The Maker. The Maker is one of the most badass villains in the Marvel Universe. See, I didn't know that because I really don't follow Fantastic Four. So I said all that just based off of what it looks like it's going to happen. I know nothing of Fantastic Four. I'm not a comic book run on them, so I know of them, but I'm not a huge lore fanatic of the Fantastic Four. Roadkill says, yeah, it's crazy. You already know the movie before it even hits. Won't the Jetsons world peace and just be obliterated next? I thought The Maker was Reed's title. Isn't there a comic run, and correct me if I'm wrong again, I'm not the biggest comic book guy when it comes to all of this Marvel stuff. Wasn't there a way where Reed turns into Kang? Right? Wasn't Reed Kang in a different form? Let's see. That's why I don't care, because Franklin Richards can rewrite the universe, and this is how powerful he is. Don't like characters like that story. Or, sorry, I don't. Krebsy says, The Maker, previously Mr. Fantastic, also known as Ultimate Reed Richards, is a supervillain appearing in America's comic books published by Marvel Comics. Titan says, I don't 100% get what you mean. You mean the story is fluff and meaningless. Where does Sarge say that? I must have missed it. Kang is a descendant of Reed from the year around 3000 or whatever. Descendant. Okay. How the hell did Pascal or Pedro Pascal get picked for this part? I don't like him as Reed Richards. That's another turnoff for me. I kind of refuse to watch Fantastic Four because I'm just tired of seeing Pedro Pascal and everything. I've been saying it for years. I was like, I can't watch him anymore. I started getting pissed off at him a little bit when he took his helmet off as Mando. Like, he took it off once, and he took it off twice, and he took it off 3 times. It's like, all right, buddy, we get it. We know who you are. It's like, we don't need to see the actor's face. We know who it is. If he doesn't want to put the uniform on and do his job, then fine. Then don't act and do your job. I don't need to see your facial expressions to do this stuff. We're just a character. Get your paycheck. Do the job. Right? He was bitching about not seeing his face. There was a whole bunch of stuff. Then he did some stuff on social media. It was just stupid. I'm just like, what's this dude's problem? Should have left the guy in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Pedro Pascal. Oh yeah, no. What's his name from The Office? I forget the guy's name. Craig something, right? He was perfect. And they killed him off in 3 seconds in that goddamn thing. I was just like, son of a bitch. You know what, though? I don't blame a lot of actors not wanting to do stuff in these, like, Disney films, like Star Wars or Marvel. They need to be upcomers, you know what I mean? Not established people coming in. Titan says, if you like the actor, you'll watch this. Yeah, some people. Some people, look. You know why people like Keanu Reeves? Because Keanu Reeves does his thing and then, like, goes into the shadows. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, you don't hear Keanu Reeves hearing horror stories about a tweet that he posted. Every time you see him online, like if someone takes a video of him, he's on the subway or he's helping somebody, he's not trying to do it because he's a celebrity. He's trying to keep a low profile or whatnot. And then he comes out with a movie and does the movie. These other actors, they try to stand out as much as possible. Aku says, did you see Pedro's recent... no, I have not. What did he do now? What did he do now? Oh, you're talking... No, I did. Are you talking about the one where he talks about J.K. Rowling's? J.K. Rowling's, his statement? Titan says kind of like Denzel Washington. He said he doesn't want to be oversaturated. Yeah, it's very hard. Like, it's a balance, right? You want to be in the limelight, but then when you're done promoting your stuff, like, fucking leave. Nobody cares about what your political views are or anything like that. We just want to be entertained, right? A lot of these people like to do the stuff and then go on tours, and then after that they got to stay relevant and they got to do more stuff, and then they take it. It's like, we're oversaturated. I'm personally done with Pedro Pascal. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him in anything. I haven't watched anything that he's done. The last thing I watched him in was Mando. Actually, no, I don't even know that's the last thing I watched. Because he was in Wonder Woman. That was 5 years ago. Wonder Woman 84. And I didn't watch Mando season 3. So I think the last thing I saw was Wonder Woman with him in it. And I was done then. What was that, 5 years ago? I didn't watch that movie with Nicolas Cage when he was in it. Was there something else he was in that I haven't watched it. Yeah, he's stupid. It's stupid. I would love to see Constantine 2. That's my number one movie. I would also love to see a sequel to. Isn't he doing a sequel to Constantine 2? Didn't I hear that? I think he's doing one. I think he's doing one. Hold on, let me see. Because he's in a bunch of stuff upcoming. From the world of John Wick, The Ballerina, Good Fortune, Outcome, The Entertainment System is Down. Yeah, Constantine 2. Yeah, he is. He's doing Constantine 2. Ray says Pedro Pascal with his Gremlin reunion ruined the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, I got you. Yeah, well, first of all, the Mando was created because they didn't want to use Boba Fett, and then they fucking made Boba Fett a Beta Fett. Like, they ruined the Mando. The Mando should have been Boba Fett. Can we just agree with that? The Mando should have been Boba Fett. We should have had a story about Boba Fett, not Mando and then Boba Fett. And they had to destroy Boba Fett to make these guys look better as the Mandos. Roadkill says, yeah, I'm pretty sure Keanu Reeves bought everybody on the production set a Harley Davidson, a John Wick, one of John Wick's movies. Yeah, there's people like that do it, like Taylor Swift did something like sort of like that. Keanu Reeves does stuff like that. There's someone else that did something like that. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of good actors out there that buy things for people. I've gotten gifts from plenty of actors on set at the end of production. I still have this leather toiletry with engravings like embroidered on it that an actor gave me. I won't name the actor but embroidered. He gave me a leather toiletry with a whole bunch of shit inside of it as well. Another person gave the crew like watches. So there's a lot of actors out there that are very, very nice to crew members, right? They know that they can't do their job without us, and they're getting paid a lot more than we are. So there's been good stuff. Imagine that the Marvel books him, and then the movie fails because everybody's sick of Pascal. I mean, I'm not watching it. I have no interest in watching it. I have no interest in watching the Thunderbolts. I've said in the past, I'm not going to go see another Marvel movie until they prove that they have a good track record. Haven't watched the Marvel movie in theaters. Didn't watch the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in theaters. Don't lie to you? What do you mean don't lie to you? No, Constantine 2 is being made. Yeah, Constantine 2 is in production. Look, upcoming. Constantine 2. Roadkill says, don't lie to me about Constantine 2, my brother. Look, I'm not lying to you. Thank you very much for the 7 months. Appreciate it. If it's one thing, Roadkill, I am not a liar. I hate liars. I will not lie. If I don't know something, I don't know something. I don't blatantly lie knowing I'm lying, right? If I say something, I look it up. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm very, very, I hate liars. Matter of fact, my son was punished for a weekend because he said he didn't even do anything wrong except didn't tell us the truth because he thought he was going to get in trouble. So because he thought he was going to get in trouble, he didn't tell us the thing instead of just telling us the thing. So he was like, why did I get in trouble? I said, because you didn't tell us the truth. You hid the truth until we asked you, and then you didn't tell us, and then we found out before you told us, and that's why you're in trouble. And he was just like, but that doesn't make sense. I said, it does make sense. I asked you a question. You lied about it because you didn't think I was going to know. Hate liars. And hate's a very strong word. Has anyone watched The Bondsman with Kevin Bacon? never even heard of it until you just said it, Rowick. Danny Owen says, that's how the law works. Roka says, I'm going to hold you to that. You told me Constantine 2 is coming out, and I can practice in black magic. Just remember. I mean, Roadkill, thank you very much for $10. I'm reading from IMDb, right? Keanu Reeves, look, Keanu Reeves. You scroll down to upcoming projects, and then Constantine 2, right? There it is, in production. So take your black magic elsewhere. Yeah. Eclipse says, I'm the same way. Do not lie to me. Yeah, if you lie to me, I mean, obviously my son gets a passing because I'm teaching him. But if you lie to me and I find out, you're dead. You're dead to me because I can't take anything you say truthfully. Krebsy says, Sue Kid. Is that a Street Fighter? Sue Kid? No, I got it. Sue's kid, Franklin, sets up a lot of stories. Could be a part of the Young Avengers. Could be a big part of the upcoming Avengers film. Infamous battle with the Galactus. Top 10 strongest Marvel characters. Krebsy says, 30 hated Travis confirmed. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Krebsy. I'm dead straight. Me and Travis had a conversation early on when he came into my channel. Right? I know some of you guys lie, and that's why I don't take some of you guys serious in any way, shape, or form. And I don't take anything you say out of your not you, or certain people. I don't take anything they say seriously. It's a new show on Amazon Prime where the character dies and then he has to hunt down the demons. Oh. We just started watching Reacher Season 3, so maybe I'll put that on the watch list after I'm done with that. Argus says that's wild. What's wild? The people that are full of shit? That part? Altered says, say the name 30. Tell the people it's me who you don't take serious. Say it. Say it. No. Look, if you can detect a liar, you can detect a liar. Right? I'm just saying. And on that note, we're done for the day. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. I think we're going to play some Expedition 33 tonight. I'm already about 4 hours in, but we might jump into that tonight. Tomorrow, we do the daily show in the morning. 1 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to do it RuneScape's Dragon Wild with Hilly. Okay? We're doing that from 1 to 3. And then tomorrow evening, we're going to play some Towerborn because that comes out over on Xbox, Game Pass, and PC officially on Steam and whatnot. So we're going to play that. So anyone wants to join us for Towerborn tomorrow evening, come on in. First come, first serve. If you're members of the channel, you'll get first dibs if you want to play with me. Other than that, appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for the super chats. Thank you very much for the memberships. Appreciate you very much. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty tuned in daily, don't you miss entertainment. Wrapped in bliss from new releases. cover gaming always. Race, controller ready, headset too. We've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Laughs and news, our winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats alive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun below. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases,